Hello and welcome back to week 5 of the UKLC. My name's Dan Orcs Harrison and I'm joined by Kiernan, ex-scoundrel low. How are you doing, Kiernan?
Good. You know, I've been a dicey week. You know, just gave birth to my son.
You gave birth yourself?
Yeah, personally. You know.
Oh wow.
It was a tough process, long labor, but I got through it, and now I have a beautiful baby boy.
And what's his name?
We'll actually let you vote on what we will name my son. That's what you haven't told me.
Okay, we're going to put a Twitter vote out for @LVP UK, #UKLC, to name my son. What do you want to call my son? We could call him Baby Champ, like we call the dog Champ.
Ex-Scoundrel Jr.
Ex-Scoundrel Jr., Dan Orcs Harrison. We can name my son. That's what we're going to do on the show today. So yeah, @LVP UK on Twitter if you want to get involved in the conversation here at the UKLC. We are going to have a poll out to name my son. I'd love to hear what names. I already have a name, by the way. It's not changing. But
oh really?
No, of course, Twitter. You're gonna name my son for the rest of his life. This is your time.
The dedication we have on this show.
If you want to catch up on all of these ridiculous intros for some reason, you can go to the LVP UK YouTube channel where we have all the highlights from all of this tournament, the Tower, as well as the previous tournament that we ran last year, the Forge of Champions. If you really want to go and see Haddo entering it for 10 weeks in a row, that's. I'm joking, Haddo. I'm joking, Haddo.
I mean, he's at the top of the tower now. So.
He is. No, Haddo's had a brilliant season so far over on Daedalus, and Daedalus are our current Tower champions. Now, speaking of the Tower, we do have a man nearby to just run us through what the Tower is. I mean, Jake Hitbrain Matthews, my boy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am pretty nearby. You're literally there to me. Orcs, mate. His son's called Rupert. That's going to be our options on the Twitter vote as well. It's Rupert.
Yes. He is called Rupert.
I didn't know.
He didn't know the name.
You never mentioned it to me.
All right, let's have a little rundown of how the tournament works. I mean, if you guys haven't been watching for the last 5 weeks, first of all, where have you been? Come on, guys, get on it. But let's bring up the tournament bracket so you guys can have a little idea of how the tournament itself runs. Right, so day 1, we start with this round of 8 here, where Bulldogs Phelan will be our first game of the day. Then we've got M&M versus Enclave, Barrage versus XL, and Darkspawn versus Fnatic Rising. After today's games, we will have the bracket draw, where we'll be deciding who our teams facing up each other will be in the semi-finals. Then the winners of those games obviously go through to the finals. And then after that, one team will progress to the Tower Challenge to take on our current Tower champions, Diabolus, who were able to beat out M&M at the end of last week. So it's all to play for, really, because the standings have been shaken up. XL have lost two games in the round of 8 in a row. Fnatic as well, they got knocked out last week. It was a dire straits week for our 2 LEC sister teams, but for our UK resident teams, this was a great day for them. But obviously we're going to be starting off with the dogfight, Phelan versus Bulldogs. So guys, what game are you excited about, really?
Well, I think personally the first couple of games are going to be our closest. I mean, Bulldogs Phelan I think is going to be a really good matchup. Again, like Jake very nicely said, it's the dogfight, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'm personally looking forward to Enclave on M&M. If I'm going to call the closest game of the day, I think Enclave M&M is definitely going to be that one for me. But yeah, Phelan and the Bulldogs is also going to be incredibly close. If XL have returned to form and if Fnatic return to form, I think they could.
That's what I'm excited about for those games, because it's a big question of have they returned to form, in case we'll probably see some really good League of Legends, or will they choke again, in which case we can kind of have a bit of a fun time. Because before the split started, a lot of people were saying, not sure if it's going to be that competitive. XL and Fnatic are probably going to go undefeated apart from each other. That's kind of been completely turned on the head, so...
I mean, I'm not going to throw too many stones, but you bring 2 LEC players down to your UKLC team and you still lose in the first round.
Just unlucky, just unlucky.
It's just unlucky. Go next. Better jungler wins. Play Lee Sin. So, yes, okay, I'm going to throw it back over to Jake as he's going to run through some of the other games we've got coming up today.
Well, actually, I want to run down our little fighting pit here, where we've got ourselves Phelan versus Bulldogs. Both these teams are currently on 1 point, so this is all to play for them, as it's been a rough split so far. There's only a couple weeks left as well, so if you actually want to make playoffs, you've got to start getting yourself up that tower and complete that Tower challenge, and it is really now for them to do that. If they can't get themselves out this week, it's looking dire for them, but I think the rest of the teams as well, they're looking at these teams maybe as a non-threat. Now is your chance to prove yourself as a threat. So is there any players that you guys are looking into for this game that you're excited about?
We're thinking about the next game. Yeah, we're already dancing for the next game, which is going to be the M&M taking on Enclave matchup, which I think is going to be a really close one because Enclave have been growing and growing in strength. Our unsung hero, actually, for the last week was Enclave's governor, who really put in a shift for Enclave over the previous week. So
yeah, I think a lot of people gave him this reputation as being like a tank-only player, which, in fairness, was kind of deserved. But I think he's shown he could do more than that and actually had some good carry performances.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And Jake, I mean, what do you make of this? The unsung hero being governor and the M&M Enclave matchup.
This, right here. It's been a roller coaster ride for M&M especially. They're a team who've had really high highs and really low lows. Enclave, you can see they're a little bit higher up. They've been more consistent with their highs, but M&M, you know, they had a fantastic week where they played upset, they beat XL, they then climbed to the top of the tower to take on Fnatic, lost that game, and then at the beginning in the tower rematch, they beat Fnatic and sat on top of the tower for just one day, a day and a half. So it's been a roller coaster ride for them. They've managed to get themselves points on where they're in a serious spot coming into playoffs, but they need to make sure that they start hitting those decent highs and make themselves a little bit more consistent, because if they can't beat Enclave here, it's going to look a little bit wobbly for them.
Are you really proud of your Photoshop skills, Jake? Because that's...
I'm not even that good at Photoshop. I'm not going to lie. This isn't me. I can't even. This
put that photo
this would be a bad paint
It
job
must have
for
taken
me.
like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you just got the logos and
Just dragged it on some random
Is that
roller coaster.
is that an accurate description of how you feel the teams are? Like, do you think that Enclave are heading down and M&M are on the up? You know, 'cause that's what the image seemed to look like to me.
I don't know. I think M&M arguably are stronger. I think when we were discussing it, I said I thought Enclave had a chance of winning, but you kind of put the matchup as 60-40 M&M.
Yeah, I think M&M, although they had that loss against Established, which is a bit dicey, I think when they play to their strengths, they are really solid. I think Enclave, I'm still not completely sold on. They do have really good games, but when they don't gel, it does concern me a bit.
So we've actually got a matchup coming up after this, and
We have another,
we have another matchup. We've got 3 today. Can you believe it? We've got Barrage taking on XL. So Jake, Barrage XL, what's this about?
I mean, XL, you know, the team who've been kind of taking it easy, having a cuppa. And 2 weeks in a row, that cuppa hasn't worked out for them. They even brought the singing. He just joined on the sofa. He got himself a coffee. Barrage, they're a team who've been sneaky. They've been able to work their way up the ladder. 2 times in a row now, they've made it out of this round of 8. And as you can see here, they are behind the sofa that XL are sitting on. I don't know how to give any further analysis to that. I mean, what do you make of that?
I feel like you've pulled that still from one of those explained YouTube channels and then just stuck the
Yeah,
logos on the heads again.
I feel like you'd have to be pretty slow on the uptake to get snuck up by a battleship as well. You know, you just sit on the sofa and this big, massive warship comes
We're
behind
going
you.
deep into the analogies here. I think realistically, XL will have steadied that ship a little bit.
You would hope. I mean, I thought that last week. They're like, okay, they have Kasigan. He's a veteran, very experienced. I expected them to bounce back there. They didn't. If it happens again, that's where I'm really... Because then they're no longer top 2. We can no longer say they're a top 2
team. They're not top 2.
Anymore,
I think it's Diabolus and Fnatic at the top of the
yeah,
table right now. So.
Which is quite a hit to them. They're no longer a top 2 team. Because even after the first time they got knocked out in the first week, we're like, okay, it's an upset that the top 2 team. They're not anymore. So starting to raise a lot of questions.
Let's move on to our final matchup of the day, Darkspawn taking on Fnatic. And Jake, what's this about?
It's been rough for Darkspawn. 3 times in a row now they've been pulled up versus Fnatic Rising. And to be fair to them, they've done a pretty good job. They've shown up every time versus this Goliath team that is Fnatic Rising. But maybe after last week, the roles might have swapped. Maybe David and Goliath is actually the other way around. Maybe Darkspawn are the team that are the underdogs. Not the underdogs even anymore. It's Fnatic who were knocked out in the first round last week. So, I mean, it's hard to call. I feel a little bit sorry for Darkspawn if they've had to play Fnatic Rising 3 times now. So I don't know, guys. It's real hard, but I think it's very obvious who our clear favourites coming into this game are.
I'm really loving the level of production quality assets we've got going into this stream right now. I hadn't seen any of these before the stream started, by the way. I kind of had like a small overview of what we were getting, but I was really expecting. Well, I don't know what I was expecting, but wasn't expecting just some random Photoshop.
I mean, that's what we get. That's what we have to work with. But you know.
Thank you, Borja, for these incredibly well photoshopped pictures to really raise the quality of the assets that we have on stream here.
I feel like when people hear us talking, they get a vague idea, but until you see a Photoshop picture that has a roller coaster poster and the team's logos on it, you really can't grasp what we're trying to get across.
No, exactly. Without those pictures, you would never have got the analogies that we were going for. David versus Goliath, what does that mean if you don't have a random Photoshop Darkspawn head on David's head as well, you know?
Absolutely. They couldn't know which one's David and which one's Goliath unless we have their pictures on them. Goliath was the big one with the spear and the shield, and David was the small one with the sling, in case that wasn't completely clear.
Exactly. Right, we are gearing up for our first match of the day, so we're going to send it back over to Jake Hitbrain Matthews just to give a little bit of an overview of the predictions and what he thinks each matchup's going to be like.
I mean, I'm going to go pretty bold here. I reckon for our first game, I think Phelan have got this in the bag. So let's have a little look at the scoreboard as we come into today's games. Fnatic Rising do sit at the top with 2-time Tower Championships, 11 points under their belt. But Diabolus now with 10 points in the pocket. It's still very, very close here, and they do remain at the top of the tower. So if they can get a good win, they'll overtake Fnatic and be the top team in the UK. XL, 2 knockouts in the round of 8s in a row, sitting at 8 points still because they had a very good start to the season. But M&M are tied with them, and if it's another rough week for XL, we could see M&M actually overtake them here in the standings. So it's all in the air at the moment. These smaller teams like Bulldogs and Phelan, you know, they've really got to start putting some work in if they want to make it to the playoffs. But for these bigger teams, it's a lot of work still needs to get put in because it's still very up on who's actually going to be the best team here in the UK. But before we get going with our first game of the day, we're going to throw it into a... No, we're not, apparently. My earpiece isn't working, so I'm just improvising here, guys. But yeah, pretty excited to get going with this game. So guys, do you want to talk to me a little bit more?
I was giving Jake hand signals. I was like, Jake, he can't hear. I'm his production man now. Yeah, anyway.
Well, we got there in the end.
We got there in the end. We basically, we would have had a highlights video for you just from last week, but unfortunately...
there were too many plays
to decide from. We couldn't. Orcs did the voiceover for it. And
we had a committee. We're still landlocked. It's similar to Brexit. We're still locked, having a vote over which plays to make it through.
Yes, yes, that's the one. However, Orcs did the voiceover for it, and unfortunately, that is too sexy for you guys to hear on stream. And that is just unfortunately not something that we can broadcast. So that's exactly what happened to it, and you'll just have to listen to him do a live broadcast now instead. As we jump into our first matchup of the day, which is Bulldogs versus Phelan, and Captain Xscoundrel just trying to steady the ship of this this broadcast as we head into the picks and bans for this first game of the day.
Yeah, I think you put it very aptly. Well, both these teams really want to sort of get a good week because they're really running the risk of not being able to qualify for playoffs if they drop here. But they've both had some pretty interesting moments so far. You know, last week Phelan kind of got stomped.
But they've had flashes of brilliance. They've had flashes in the past.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're looking at terms of two teams that are equal pegged, this is a set of teams that could probably be equal pegged.
Unless you ask either team, then they'll say, no, we're way better.
Yeah, I agree. But I think you look towards I think Aragon obviously had those good performances for Phelan, especially he was a great asset in terms of split pushing on that Yorick when they managed to make that sort of tactic work for them. Then you got Toliam on, is it Toliam or Toliam? Toliam. Both of those are wrong. Yeah. And I think he had a really stand-up performance in sort of conjunction with Calwood for Bulldogs. So I think I'm struggling to see exactly where the weaknesses are for these teams when they're looking up against each other. I would love to just probe your opinion on this.
Well, I think the issue on Bulldogs is Tolium can play a good Nunu. And that's it.
Oh, okay.
When that Nunu got banned away, it was a bit of a dicey one. Ego Speed, he's actually had some pretty solid performances. I think Calwood, when he gets a good matchup, is good.
Ego Speed on Jarvan was almost single-handedly carrying Bulldogs in the early start.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of weight, and his Poppy was huge as well. Yeah. I think on Phelan, they've switched their roster again. They have Snuggly back instead of Blaze. Blaze, it was his first performance in the UKLC. Didn't quite go to plan, but I mean, the thing with Phelan is still they don't feel like a cohesive team yet. I like that they're picking up the Lucian. I like that they're going for something aggressive in the bot lane, because I think both these teams have potential. All the players have shown some life, but you need someone to come out and go, I'm going to carry this game, because, yeah, I mean, it needs to happen.
So Nunu's still up, by the way, for Bulldog, if they want to give that to Liam.
But, I mean, it might be because if I was Bulldogs and I was to Liam, I would have a second pick prep, because his go-to last week was Shaco, and it was just awful.
Yes.
And so I would now have a second pick that I've prepared, and I'm wondering if they have one ready, but Phelan haven't even banned away the Nunu, so we might not see it. We do see the Lee Sin come in from Soft, and this is something that he's actually really confident on. And this is what I like to see. Again, the confidence picks coming out from Phelan. They want to play things that they can carry the game and be aggressive in the early game, rather than just sitting back. And some of the teams have had that reputation of playing the scaling game.
All right, so we've got Thresh being locked in here for, and you can see the summoners are igniting Ignite Smite there for Tillium. So hopefully we're not going to see the Shaco again. That didn't work out too well for Bulldogs in the previous week. But the Thresh being taken away from Snuggly, you're going to limit that aggressive Lucian Thresh lane that you can get from the Phelan bot lane. So Snuggly now going to be forced into something else.
Take the Braum in this rotation.
And the Braum is fine, yeah. The Braum is a good solid pick.
It's interesting because the Cat, I believe, all his games so far he's played, because he only just came in last week, Blue and Galio. Really good in that Galio, but they banned it away from Blue side. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does on this Thresh, especially being that he's into something like a Lucian. It's not too easy to land hooks if he's playing with that mobility and such. You could also take, your mid laner here if you wanted to get a good counter pick, but
ADM gets his Vel'Koz, which is actually something that we haven't talked too much about.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of a reputation ADM had before, which was he was an Aurelion Sol Vel'Koz 2-trick.
Yeah.
And he has shown he can play a lot of other things, but it looks like Phelan are going full comfort for this game, going back to that Vel'Koz, and it actually works pretty well from what they picked against, because if the Jarvan tries to cataclysm you, he has to go so deep, and you can just ult everyone who tries to engage on you. His counter engage is pretty solid, because unless you flank the Vel'Koz, he just ults the whole team fight and it does a lot of work, especially if you're reliable on that champion and hit the skill shots.
So this is the Vel'Koz locked in, and I think actually if we run with that sort of comfort style of play that we're seeing from Phelan, we've got 2 weeks left after this of the UKLC. We've got week 6 and week 7 before we go to playoffs. There is not a lot of time to accumulate points to get yourself to a playoff position. It is technically still within grasp.
Yeah, I mean, technically you can still get 15 points for this week, next week, and the week after. But you're hard pressed to do that.
Of course, but if you're gonna go in and guarantee yourself a really strong performance, it looks like just going straight comfort for Phelan is the way that they're going to do this. And they also are running it down to a potential counter pick in the top lane for Eragon. Now, of course, Gragas can flex, but I imagine that's going to be Snuggly. Unless it's support Vel'Koz. I think it's unlikely with ADM on the team.
I think I very much get the vibe it's going to be that mid Vel'Koz and the support Gragas. I think Gragas is pretty solid. You can make some aggressive plays and also offers that disengage for the Vel'Koz. And you can be more proactive, I feel, in the Tahm Kench. Sure, you have the Tahm Kench ult to get around the map. But in terms of the plays you can make, I think Gragas offers more. And now goes over to Bulldogs. They have that Orianna from Calwood. And I want to see what Tolium's bringing. I wouldn't be too against them putting the Jarvan in the jungle, but because Ego Speed said he's very confident up against Eragon.
Yeah, I'm waiting
in this 1v1 matchup.
Waiting to see exactly what Tillium thinks is his pick. It's going to be the Rek'Sai, very meta pick for the current patch.
Yeah, so it looks like he has picked up a new pick for the jungle. He's not going back to that Shaco.
And doesn't default onto the Nunu, which was
banned away.
So yeah, the Nunu was banned away for him. And so he goes on to the Rek'Sai, which is something that maybe questions can be raised about. You were not impressed on Tillium on anything other than Nunu so far. However, he is a jungler at fairly high elo. He will have other things in his repertoire.
Technically, he's a top laner.
Is he technically top
laner?
Yeah,
he was a top laner for Rust and he got switched.
Oh, goodness.
Which is why he's been relying on the Nunu.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
Okay,
right.
But he's had a week to practice. You'd hope that he's gone right. I'm now playing jungle for this team. I'm going to get good in the Rek'Sai. So we'll have to see how it works out. We've seen some really good Rek'Sais and some not so good Rek'Sais.
Yeah.
And then we see Eragon rounds things out with a Jace, which is a pretty big confident pick. Jace tends to get banned away a lot, but Jace is the sort of champion where in the right hands he is a monster, which is deserving of the bans, and in the wrong hands he's just useless.
You have to be careful versus Jarvan. That matchup with Jarvan in the top lane can be rough. You obviously can knock him away when the engage happens, but if you've got a Rek'Sai Jarvan combo looking to camp a Jace lane, you've got to be so careful about your vision control and keeping yourself.
In the 1v1, Jace can run away with it, but the problem is League of Legends isn't a 1v1, it's a 5v5, and I know if I was Tolium, I'd be looking towards that top lane as somewhere to punish, but I'll have to see what they end up going for.
All right, so let's run down these compositions and win conditions. We've got Bulldog with the Jace, the Rek'Sai, the Orianna, the Kai'Sa, and the Thresh. What is that? Is that just Kai'Sa late game win condition there? With Orianna as well, I guess it's full team fight.
Kai'Sa Orianna is pretty solid in the late game. The only issue I really have with it is it lacks range against the Vel'Koz.
Sure.
I don't think that's big of an issue. If you find a flank or you find a good engage on the Vel'Koz, you can definitely punish it. In the late game team fights, they need to look to sort of capitalize on that.
It's a group wombo combo team fight, right? You've got the Orianna with the Jarvan or the Orianna with the Rek'Sai.
You want to trap people in that. Yeah. You can also pick out single targets pretty well with Rek'Sai Thresh. That works. I think it's all going to come down to how well the jungle makes pressure on the map. If you can get top lane ahead, great. If you can get bot lane ahead, even better, but it might be a bit trickier. And then I think for the other side, you want to give Aragon a lane of farm. I mean, essentially, you want Aragon and ADM to farm up and be strong, and then your bot lane to have pressure.
Sure. And I think when you look at this and we come down to the opposite side of things with Phelan, you've got a Jace who almost certainly is going to want to split push for the majority. He can siege as well if he goes down sort of the lethality build. Have a look at quick overview of the roster as we're jumping in towards game. But I mean, very quick overview. Only change here for Phelan is going to be Snuggly coming in, as well as the Cat coming in for recently coming in for the Bulldogs. But yeah, I think as we jump onto the Rift here for our first game of the UKLC Week 5, I do think a lot of this does lie in that top lane matchup. If Aragon can run away with things, I don't think there's many ways you can deal with the split push Jace. I don't think there's many easy ways to deal with the split push Jace, because you've got Orianna who doesn't want to be in a side lane, and you've got ego speed on Jarvan. If he gets behind, he's going to be really far behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well that if you look at Phelan's sort of composition, a lot of their champions are going to be really strong in the mid game. I think later on you might struggle a bit.
Yeah.
Like the Lucian just isn't going to put out as much damage as the Kai'Sa. I feel like Vel'Koz, he's strong in those late game team fights by all means, but I'm not sure how easy it is to get those big ults on when it gets later on. So I think Phelan definitely want to get some pressure in the early game and then sort of take away with the game in those mid game team fights where a Lee Sin kick into a Gragas barrel leads very little follow up to just land a kill. I think on the side of Bulldogs, they have the Orianna and the Kai'Sa. Those are going to be monsters later on. They just need to sort of have pressure from that top jungle that, as you talked about, is very strong.
I think if Phelan can get ahead in the mid game, though, I don't see many tools for Bulldogs to actually keep this composition under wraps until that late game, because you have an Orianna Kai'Sa who scale really well, and they're there for team fighting. And you go into a teamfight situation with those two, saying, okay, like wombo combo with the Orianna, find a good engage with the Jarvan, stick the ball on the Rek'Sai or the Jarvan, find a great ultimate, blah, 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 blah. It plays itself out, right?
Yeah.
But I think when you look at Phelan, if they can get an advantage in any of their lanes and start to run away with it, especially that bot lane, which I think is going to be a really crucial one with the engage of the Gragas as well, you're looking at a composition that is going to be very difficult to contain for Bulldogs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the burden is going to be on Phelan to find that pressure, though, because as you said, it's going to be difficult to contain. So if you start taking the Baron on blue side, I mean, when you're on red side as Phelan, it's very easy just to walk in, land a big shockwave, and you can turn the whole game around. And I feel like if Bulldogs get ahead significantly, it's really going to be difficult for Phelan to get back. I see an avenue where Phelan could lose the game from being ahead if they sort of get picked out in bad situations, but I think they have an easier time of getting to that point where they're in a lead.
Sure, I guess the way that you're sort of phrasing this is that it's up to Phelan to make the move.
Yeah,
it's up to Phelan to take the advantage, because Bulldogs are going to be very happy to sit this out on farm lanes. Very happy to say, okay, we'll take advantages when they're presented to us. But we don't need to force anything. We don't need to go too hard. As long as we match pressure from Phelan, as long as we make sure we look after our global objectives, this game will play itself for us if we get towards that late game.
Yeah, and as long as things don't go too disastrously in any of the lanes, I think you always have a win condition as Bulldogs. Whereas if their Jace falls really far behind, if their Lucian falls really far behind, that's where things get a bit concerning. And the thing is that Kai'Sa is going to be a monster in the late game, and she has the protection from that Orianna. There's utility of the Thresh which comes in too, and then even the Jarvan, that attack speed from his fly, it's nothing massive, but it's more things that are going to offer for Ghoul to really 1v9 this late game, rather than a Lucian who, as we've seen, does fall off a bit towards those late stages.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think a lot of this is going to come down to Soph on this Lee Sin as well. A lot of this is going to be about what pressure he can put down, which lanes he's going to be able to get to and actually start doing some work in. Looks like that bot lane is about to bounce slightly towards the middle side of the map, and you can see Soph hanging around in that tri-brush, which is not currently warded, but it's not in a great position for a gank right now.
Yeah, they do need to wait for it to push out a bit, but looks like Cat and Gold are going to play it quite safe. For now, you'll just steal away those Krogs quite happily. Do you see Tolium has recall on this Rek'Sai? Does mean he has an item advantage, but he's a little bit behind in levels, and I guess he's coming over to his Krogs to sort of spy them out. And the question is going to be, will he meet Soph and know exactly where he is, or will he just catch him on the back end and go, okay, my camp got stolen, he was here, but I don't know when.
Looks like he's going to catch it just as they're going. He's seen one of them diving away. He knows exactly where Lee Sin is.
I mean, it's not a bad situation necessarily for Bulldogs. You do fall a bit behind in XP in terms of this Rek'Sai, but at least you know where the Lee Sin is. and that means you know that he's not applying pressure in the mid or top lane. He was definitely bot. Means your lanes can play fairly safe with that information.
But then this is great for Aragon, right? Because as soon as he knows that Rek'Sai is on the bottom side of the map, that's where you're going to look to start to take advantages versus this Jarvan. I mean, Aragon has been trading pretty well versus Ego Speed for the majority of this. He's put pressure on Ego Speed, pushed the lane in, although the CS is similar. He's been coming away on top in some of these trades.
Yeah, one big accelerated Shock Blast can really just turn the trades around as well. Both of them running out of Corrupting Potion stacks, but they're now going for a recall from Aragon. He's going to TP back in. So it does look like he will actually have his recall cancelled. And we do see Engage coming bot.
Oh, and Chu forced to flash straight away. Cat drags in with the lantern, and now Snuggly forced to back off. Cat now waiting to wind up this next flay to put pressure onto Snuggly. There's going to be a hook coming out fairly soon, but the flash is forced once more.
Coming though.
Here comes Soft, but I think the summoners are all up for Gould and the Cat, and that is going to be a flash forced out. So at the end of the day, it is an ignite and flash for a double flash and heal.
Yes, a big advantage coming for Bulldogs there. And I mean, we talked about how the Lucian should be, oh, ADM, that's not where you want to be.
Oh, he actually flashes in an awkward position as two, and Tolium is just trying to catch up. Does flash on Burrow. There's the shockwave onto ADM. Nothing he can do as the barrier comes out. Forces him back. Tolium hasn't got the flash, but he has got the Burrow at some point soon.
Oh,
he misses the Praise Seeker. He gets the knockup, and First Blood goes over to Tolium.
I swear that the Yakli Sax was playing. If ADM got away there, that would have been really questionable. But Tolium does manage to secure it. They get that First Blood, and ADM just overstepping there. And a similar thing happened bot lane. You know, we saw this Lucian Gragas lane. I feel like they should have had the pressure, but they really lost out in that trade in terms of summoners, and even had to call Soft down, and then all they got in return was a flash from the Cat. So not a great start in the early levels, especially when last week, although it was Blaze instead of Snuggly, Chu and Blaze really fell behind bot lane. Like, they were dying 2v2 pretty consistently against Barage's bot lane, so it's not a good start to see similar things happen here. But it might just be the early levels. We'll see how things pan out.
Yeah, again, we're only sort of talking a difference of 500 gold or so at this point in time. It's not what Phelan would have wanted, the way their game to start. But right now, there's something that the Rek'Sai meta has kind of brought back in for people. They've been so used to Rek'Sai being out of the meta. They've been so used to just traditional jungle pathing and sort of expecting normal jungle gank patterns that when Rek'Sai's back in the meta, you have to think more. You have to really be aware of where that jungler is, what kind of paths they could take over wolves. And ADM just maybe felt a little too comfortable pushing up in that lane, and that allowed Tolium to exploit that.
And that's the thing, we talked about the comfort pick, but I think it was a bit too comfortable there. And the thing with the Vel'Koz, if once you get on top of it, there's not much you can do. And now, if I was Bulldogs, I'd be looking again towards that mid lane. You're going to have the ult from Tolium soon. The shockwave's coming up again. No flash on that Vel'Koz. It's a very easy lane to gank. And if you can keep putting this Vel'Koz behind, that sort of definitely gives that win condition we were talking about where you get the strong lanes.
Oh, Cat. Oh, they missed both the Qs and the body slam, but here comes ADM trying to force out an all about 3-on-3, but that was a little awkward from Soft and Snuggly on the Cat, who had no flash to work with.
Here's the question. Was it a mistake from Snuggly and Soft, or is the Cat just insanely good at dodging?
I think Snuggly and Soft went a little bit too early there, unfortunately. I think it was just they got a little bit over antsy. I don't even think the Cat knew they were in that bush.
Yeah, I think just a bit too soon.
So just a little bit too soon, just misjudged the body slam.
Yeah, the concern might have been that he was going to ward it, and then they were like, we need to get it just before he wards it, but even so, I think you're right. They jumped the gun a bit too soon and ended up getting nothing from it.
I want to talk about this Aragon and Ego Speed matchup, because Ego Speed is now up 10 CS, although there is a wave pushing in to the Jace. He's been managing that wave control in the top lane really nicely. He's basically been pulling it over to his side of the map, freezing it where he can, and has been making Aragon feel uncomfortable in the areas that he is in terms of pushing up in that lane, because you don't want to get ganked by a Jarvan Rek'Sai combo. Even with flash, that's going to be difficult to escape.
Yeah, absolutely. And you actually see Phelan as a result of that. So Aragon played very safe, played respectful of the fact that the Rek'Sai could be there, or was there. He saw him clear on the ward. It means they get a Mountain Dragon essentially for free, and I wouldn't complain in that situation. But you can see, if you look at the map, so much more control on this bot side for Phelan compared to the top side, which seems to be completely Tolium's. And it's weird that it's almost like we have the split jungling now instead of at the early levels, where you can see Tolium just wandering about on the red side of Phelan's jungle, taking all the camps he wants, and it makes things a bit dicey for Aragon because realistically a dive could happen. And the thing is, if Phelan want to sort of counteract that, they have to do something in return, but it looks like Soft couldn't find anything and he's just recalled.
Yeah, it does look like Tillian is on the top side again, just seeking out that dive situation onto Aragon as the engage comes in from Ego Speed, just slams down with the Martial Cadence just onto Aragon to get that percentage damage. And honestly, Aragon has been struggling in this matchup. It's a matchup that the Jace can run away with, but it is a difficult one for, versus a Jarvan Rek'Sai combo that you constantly have to respect.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is that he's so scared of getting ganked, understandably. Oh, and the cat might be in trouble here, actually. But we're watching this instead.
Oh, we're watching Wraith take, and Snuggly actually gets the kill onto the cat. Awkward.
Thank you, Observer. Shout out to you, Harry. Good job. Anyway, so what happened there was Cat basically stepped up too far. I think he didn't quite have his flash build. We all see the replay, thankfully. Yeah. So Cat tries to stop the recall, the slow hits, and then his flash was coming up but not available yet. Really good ult from Snuggly, so just solid punish. And I think the Cat just being a bit overconfident. I've done that before.
Yeah, of course. We all have.
You've all done that moment. You're like, I'll stop his recall. You feel confident. Last time you had a trade, you would in terms of summoners traded, but a bit too far. And Cat ends up going down and showing maybe a bit of the experience difference between someone like Snuggly and himself, who was brought in, the Cat brought in very recently onto this Bulldogs roster. So bit of an oopsie daisy. We'll see both teams posturing for this Herald right now. Yeah, we see the rotation already coming out of both the Chew and Snuggly to the top side of the map. They feel that they are stronger in that bot lane jungle duo or bot lane jungle matchup, that they're happy to then rotate everybody up to the top and just get another global objective. Yeah, crucially as well, with the Dragon off the table, no real reason to stay down there, so they should pick this up. It was really good poke from Aragon actually there. He chunked Tolium out, and I think as soon as that happened, Bulldogs went, right, okay, let's just stop. There's no real way we contest this, and now this is what Phelan need to do. We said they need to get things going in the early mid-game. They now have that Rift Herald. They just need to keep this momentum going. If you look, just a minute ago, we were talking about how much vision there was on the top side for Bulldogs. Look at the map again. It's just completely turned off the head, and you can actually see 5 pink wards in that top side. You can count them. You know, there's the 2 up and very near the top lane. There's 2 on the opposite side of the Rift Herald, and then there's 1 that is kind of being covered by the Vel'Koz icon. But that happened like in 2 seconds. They literally moved top and they went, right, we're putting 5 control wards down instantly, which is, considering I talked about this team having a lack of cohesion, this is a big shift. Yeah, it was a really nice piece of macro play. This was classic macro from Phelan. You take that objective on the bottom side of the map, you get an advantage and shove in on the bot, and then rotate top, and then they sort of grouped up together for the Rift Herald. And actually, I think they're at a situation where they feel stronger in a straight-up team fight in this middle portion of the game, early mid portion of the game. The Bulldogs just didn't want to fight it. And actually, do you know what? I actually respect that from Bulldogs, because we've talked about what Bulldogs' win condition lies as. It is getting to the late game. It is just letting things chill. And they've said, okay, let's not take any risky fights. We don't need to take a team fight that we potentially don't have the answer to. So it may come back to bite them as the Rift Herald gets unleashed in the bot lane and Phelan get yet another advantage. But I guess they are playing towards their win conditions, which is a little bit later on. Yeah, but I gotta give credit to Phelan. It was a really smart move. They diverted all that attention top. So what is the obvious reaction from Tolium? It's to go top in response, because you see all the vision, you see all the pressure, you see Lee Sin on the top side, you're expecting the Rift Herald to come there. And so instantly, they swap over to the other side, and they take this tower down with all 5 platings. That's a ton of gold for that Jace. And we're talking about how he's fallen behind a bit against the Jarvan. That gold he just got there is going to put him ahead in terms of the money he has. So it was actually really smart move from Soft there. He's going to pick up Ghostblade as well, which is a nice item spike for him to be able to find a couple more situations for the 1v1s. Only 30 seconds of turret plating left, so I don't think we'll see too many more fall. And we are only around a 1,000 gold lead for Phelan. So all of these global objectives, it hasn't translated into a huge gold lead as of yet, but it is a situation where we are hitting item spikes. But it's just, I mean, the goal difference is massive, but the way Phelan are playing is just really smart here. Because you instantly see that they make that play top lane, they get the Rift Herald, they then swap their pressure down bot and get the tower, and now they're going back towards bot side for that Dragon, and actually Aragon stopped the back of Gould. He doesn't have TP, he's not going to be able to make it in time, so this second Mountain Dragon is just essentially gone for free. The only chance they have to get it is if Tolium goes for a steal, which, looking for where he is on the map, I'm not even sure if he's going to try. So Phelan have just out-rotated and outplayed Bulldogs into getting 3 objectives for free, which is those 2 mountains and the tower. So really good moves from them. And again, this is a team I said they lacked cohesion. They didn't look like a team with a formulated plan when they were playing. It just looked like 5 people playing League of Legends together. But now they are showing they know how to play the map and as a team.
And if we link this back to what it means for the UKLC and the standings, remember, these guys are at the bottom right now. They have very few games to make up a situation where they can get to playoffs. The winner of this game essentially puts the other team in the dirt for playoffs. If you lose this game, I think it's almost mathematically impossible for you to, potentially mathematically impossible.
It's not completely, but it's rough.
Yeah, I mean,
if you win the next 2 weeks back to back, sure, you can probably make playoffs, but it's rough.
Yeah. If you lose this game and you are then put into a situation where you're again round of 1 out on the week with just 2 weeks left to go, you rely on some crazy results to actually put you in a situation where you are going to be contending for playoffs as Aragon and Ego Speed. I mean, Ego Speed's going. That's a nice knockout by Aragon now. He's trying to dodge out away from Ego Speed. Ego Speed does have flash. Oh, another flash comes through. Oh, the standard is here, but Soft comes to save the day. Ego Speed can't get away with that standard, and that is a nice trade 1-for-1. And look what's happening in the mid lane.
Yes, it was a really solid play from Ego Speed. Just got close to Aragon and getting close there. And that's the thing, is that individually, Ego Speed has played this game better than Aragon. He's had the CS advantage, he found that solo kill. The issue is Soft has just been such a menace on the map, instantly being there to turn around that 1v1 and get the kill in return. And then he got the tower bot lane, which Ego Speed was going to defend because he used the Rift Tiles, and it just feels like Bulldogs have had some good individual play, but on the map, Phelan are playing this so much better so far.
What I also like about the way that Phelan played the first, let's say, 10 to 12 minutes of this game, is that despite that gank onto ADM very early, which made him a sitting duck, really, for Rek'Sai return ganks, the pressure from bot to take Dragon, to then switch top, to take Rift Tail, to switch bot, to take Dragon and Tower again, means that
the focus was taken away from
Talium has never had the opportunity to go back to mid lane. He's always had to mirror Soft, and he's always had to mirror the pressure on either side of the map, and that has taken that pressure away from Vel'Koz in the mid lane. And although he's behind on CS, he's not died again, and now that chance to exploit him has passed, and he's got Flash, he's got Barrier, and he's safer once more.
Absolutely, and I think that's the thing, is that so far this game, it's felt like Tolium has very much played in response to Soft, but now he's making an aggressive play.
Nothing that Aragon can do here. Talium actually picks up the kill. There is a response coming out from Phelan as they head up with Snuggly. Not sure if there's anything he can do about it. Can Talium be baited in here? Talium is waiting around. Snuggly goes in. He doesn't have flash. That's the ignite coming through. And that is going to be another kill for Soft as the shutdown is there. Teleport can't be cancelled. Ego Speed coming in. Soft
so
now backing away.
damage.
ADM does have some abilities up and ready to go. There's the ultimate, but just a little bit out of range. Soft still on the back line. No idea what he's doing. Snuggly flashes over the box, and Achu joining right at the end of the fight makes them back off, but that could have been so much worse for either side had a few things gone in different ways.
Yeah, I think a bit overzealous from Soft there, deciding to go for Ego Speed when he TP'd in. I think they could have just killed Tolium, backed off for the TP, and then taken that advantage. Went a bit overzealous, but at the end of the day, didn't go too badly for either side. But it's good to see that Tolium looking for these aggressive plays now, because, like I said, for the whole early game, he was basically just playing to Soft's tune.
And I think what we need to note is that despite these advantages having picked up by Phelan, we are still only looking at a 1,000 gold lead, which coming up to 20 minutes into the game, you would consider that a fairly even game across the board.
It's not massive. You have to crucially look at where the sort of goal differences are, and the 80 carries the one, particularly when Lucian's on this big Blade Rune King one-item spike. That's a bit dicey for me, but like you said, I don't think it's massive. I don't think it's a huge difference. The 2 mountains maybe is a bit concerning, because if Phelan start to take over the game, they can very easily rush down a Baron. But for now, I don't think Bulldogs are by any means out this game.
Soft coming in here on to Talium, who's gone. Is Talium going for a Guardian Angel second item here on the...
Yeah, it's a pretty solid rush. I've seen a lot of junglers go this. A lot of junglers are looking to engage. They get the Guardian Angel very early, and it just means they essentially can go as aggressive as they want, and there's no burden that they're going to die and be off the map for that smite. So I think it's been quite common on stuff like the Jarvan and the Rek'Sai, even the Lee Sin, to go that Guardian Angel second.
Looks like Golden Cat is staying on the top side of the map here with the Dragon spawning in around 20 seconds. Are they going to be able to back off in time to contest this Dragon? Because there are a lot of Phelan faces on the bottom side of the map here.
I mean, if they've decided to make this trade, I don't think it's a bad one. It is just an Ocean Dragon.
Just an Ocean Drake.
The concern is later on, it might be a bit dicey. We did see a brief tweet, but Aragon now in trouble here.
Oh, Aragon has been a punching bag for Ego Speed and Talium, and they get yet another kill onto him. That has been the focus, but Soft is not finished. A great double slow. He's looking for the kick. Can he get it as Talium forces the stopwatch out? He will go down eventually to ADM, and there's the ultimate onto Soft. Can Soft escape? He will have that safeguard, and Ego Speed does not feel confident to head back into that fight.
Yeah, so understandably, the numbers advantage came to Phelan there. It was a good pick-off from Bulldogs, but they aren't able to get away with it. Both teams will back off, but I think having the smite on the cards does mean Phelan should be in a favorable position to get this dragon, especially since they have that double mount, and it should go down so fast.
Yeah, they should get this pretty easily, although the pings are coming through because Soft is low. Does that feel like they want to contest it? I think it'd have to be a crazy contest from Bulldogs. There was a tweet. Hopefully we can get that tweet back up and have a look.
Maybe. Did you manage to catch any of it?
I managed to catch Bulldogs looking for the W.
Yeah, well, I'd hope that the team's looking to win.
Oh, it's a big hook onto the loose. He's dead. No, he's not. He's not dead. Safeguard and heal keeps him alive. Oh, how did he not go down?
I mean, it was close, but that was very greedy from Achu. Going for that last auto on the turret, and it was a good hook from Cat. Credit to him. That is not the sort of mechanical plays you want to see coming out from Illusion by any means. Losing both summoners for that as well. So did manage to stay alive, but not good for Phelan. No,
not a great situation for Phelan. You would have preferred not to burn your AD carry Flash, who is currently sitting, you know, towards his second item spike. Although speaking of item spikes, that Infinity Edge is completed. The Gwinsu's being built up to for Gould.
So here's something interesting, is the build from ADM. He's rushed that Spellbinders before even finishing the Ludens. So, I mean, ADM obviously has a lot more understanding of Vel'Koz to me. And what this says to me is that, well, what's the most impactful part of a Vel'Koz's team fighting?
His ultimate.
His ultimate. So what it says to me is that he wants to pop that and then just fire up a huge damage ultimate that just absolutely shreds the other team. Alternatively, the movement speed it gives as well also means it gives you a bit of mobility if you want to get away from things, but I don't know. That's my ideas on it. To me, I would love just to get that 100 stacks up, pop it, and then just ult the other team and melt them. That would be my dream, but there is also that movement speed aspect of it that might be.
Yeah, repositioning versus the Jav and Rek'Sai, especially when you've got to worry about things like the Orianna ultimate, as well as the fact that Kai'Sa can position onto the backline and blow you up too. Those are things that you want to worry about as a Vel'Koz, and I think all of the things that Spellbinder gives him can definitely help him out. Feeling pretty bad for Aragon this game, though. He has been that punching bag, and that means that any kind of Jace split push situation is being firmly locked down by Ego Speed right now, and Jace, you know, just not having a good time in the side lane. They really are relying on that Lucian from Achu to just be the driving force behind their mid-game presence at this point in time.
Which I think is fine. I mean, it'd be nice if the Jace got ahead, but he's not useless, and Cat actually stepping up pretty far here.
Oh, there's the box. That's a nice play as Snuggly goes in. Talium waiting to jump in. There's the ultimate. Nice flash from Snuggly right at the end, though, as Talium again flashes in, but can't get the finishing blow. A teleport through from Aragon. He can't stop it, but he can be there for this tower siege, and it is just a few basic attacks from going down.
Yeah, so especially with the double mountains, that's going to go down very quick. Have to see if the trade's going to be worth it, because Ego Speed is hitting that tower on the bot side, so it will be a 1-for-1, but remember, TP advantage goes over the Bulldogs there.
Yeah, they do lose their TP for what was really just a 1-for-1 tower trade. So ideally, Bulldogs come away feeling pretty good about that situation right there.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 flashes down from Bulldogs, and I think one big thing to talk about is how vulnerable the Thresh is without a flash. He is arguably the least mobile member of Bulldogs. I mean, probably closely tied with the Orianna, but even Orianna, it's quite hard to jump on it because if she gets that big shockwave, very easy to turn around. I feel like Snuggly, if he throws out a barrel at the right time, it's very easy to kill the Cat, so has to be very careful now he's without that summoner.
As long as you get the box down, though, you're just looking at a situation where you've already done a decent job in a team fight a lot of the time. I would argue he's also the least impactful member of the Bulldogs roster when it comes to a team fight.
Sure, but if you just pop him out before a team fight, making it a 5v4,
sure,
it's definitely favorable. Whereas I think it's a lot riskier to go for example, a Gragas, who has that mobility, but also can sort of ult you back into his own team. I think, to me, that's one of the things with Thresh. Thresh can make such a big impact with his hooks, but if he's caught out, he just dies so quickly. He's not that tanky compared to other tanky supports. He has no mobility. And now, he has to be quite careful, and it's very tricky, especially when he's going to be the big burden for the wards, since he's the one who has that Sightstone.
Liam buries over. They are looking for another Drake contest. It's going to be another Ocean as that comes up. 2 Oceans and 2 Mountains. Actually not a bad situation, especially if you are going for more of a siege type scenario.
It's good for objective control, absolutely, because you can start up a Baron and you heal up pretty quick after it. The one downside to it, it's actually another mountain, so the overlay's a bit wrong.
But yeah, the overlay's a little bit off.
Regardless, it makes your objective control really solid, but it means that you have no extra combat stats. You know, those mountains don't help you in a team fight. The Ocean doesn't either, unless you get like a brief reprieve. So although they have this big advantage, you are waiting for the Elder Dragon before it really helps you in team fights.
I do think, though, with the mountains and the ocean specifically, and when you're looking at a situation where you want to push onto a tower, let's say, you have the Jace, the Vel'Koz, they are great at sieging. Lucian, a pretty good sieger as well. And then you get a small opportunity, you're going to get much more damage done to the towers than you would do usually.
I mean, yeah, but the issue for me for sieging is just the lack of range. Like, Lucian, we saw there before when he tried to walk up north to the tower. Yeah. Especially when Orianna gets stronger and stronger. Now level 15, the highest level in the game, you don't want to walk in that shockwave. And it looks like this might be the chance where Bulldog look to contest this one. TP coming in.
They are split up right now. Ego Speed does not want to commit, and they all back off towards that Mountain Drake. They're going to start things up. Here comes the Lucian ultimate. He is looking for an opportunity just to get a big EQ combo as Cat gets a hook onto the Lucian. Lucian gets a great flash out, but they are diving onto him in the backline. No one gets the kill. No idea what that Vel'Koz ultimate is about. It's absolutely useless as a Chew just still alive on the backline. The only target they wanted to take down, and they didn't. And despite some minor grievances, it's still feeling that come away with the win.
I mean, I talked about how Calwood is the highest level in the game. I'm looking for that shockwave to make a big impact. The Cat lands a beautiful hook on a Lucian. And then the Calwood miles away, just doing nothing. I'm like, what? Why?
There's 3 Mountain Drakes straight for the Baron.
This might just be gone.
This is a big play because there's a massive amount of distance to cover. It's going down pretty quickly. Calwood coming through, doesn't have his ultimate. Liam is there on the sidelines though, and that is a really nice setup by ADM. They are still going for the Baron though. Ego Speed's there as well. Aragon taking a huge amount of damage. Oh, that was a huge opportunity, but everything goes amiss as ADM now being forced back by Ego Speed in the backline though. A dive in by Liam, but he's got that GA. He's bought some time as a Chew, getting chased down. Soft diving back with that safeguard, and oh my word, this is so close. A Chew has been tagged, and that's not going to be a move in from Gould. He doesn't have the ultimate available. But that could have been very scary.
Yeah, bit of a clown fiesta now, but we are loving it. So feeling go for the quick Baron attempt, but they managed to get away with only losing snugly, so not too bad, but they give the pressure over to Bulldogs. What a back and forth between these two teams.
That was a crazy sequence of events right there. It looks like a Chew build. I think a Chew building up towards the Phantom Dancer here. I would guess the Phantom Dancer, or maybe the Rapid Fire Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be the Runans, I can say that. Yeah. Probably won't be Static Shiv. Both are arguably a choice. Personally, if I was him, I'd go for the QSS because he's been a hook magnet so far this game.
He has.
I mean, credit to the Cat. He predicts where the the relentless pursuit is going to come out and finds him, but
I think in that last fight, if we were to look at that last Dragon fight again, I would imagine that ADM was zoning out Calwood from getting a good shockwave. I think it's the only thing that makes sense to me because that was a perfect shockwave opportunity. Everybody was locked in that Jarvan ultimate, so there must be a reason that Calwood couldn't get that shockwave down. I mean, Calwood was just
miles away, and he was getting zoned out a bit by Aragon and ADM. But the problem is the range of Aragon and ADM is so much higher, so they can still assist their team from that distance, whereas Calwood, the highest level and the strongest member of Bulldogs, you can see from the gold, has the most as well. Did nothing that entire Dragon team fight.
No, I agree. I think both mid laners have had some kind of lackluster team fight situations, especially when it comes to those big impactful ultimates. And these are 2 champions that do rely on their ultimates to have the most team fight impact. I mean, ADM's was kind of all over the place in that last fight.
But at least he used it. I mean, yes, Calwood did use it in the end, but on one person only got flashed.
Yeah.
You know, so I wasn't too impressed. And he's the one I'm looking to because he's had some really good performances so far. And his shockwave, he's close to the Rabadons, doesn't have it yet, but that is going to hurt.
Yeah, Rabadons is going to be a huge pickup for Calwood if that's where he ends up going. It is just a contest for Baron vision right now, and loads of control wards coming down around the Baron pit as Bulldogs look to establish some more control. I mean, they're letting Aragon just split push right now. Again, TP advantages being switched back and forth between these 2 teams. And it is Aragon that's the one that's kind of taking advantage of that at this point in time.
Yes, the Bulldog means they can get a bit of pressure and clear the vision out. Looks like they're trying to start up. I don't think you want to take this 50-50, but they're now actually looking for a play on a Snuggly. Yeah,
they're
there's
going
flash.
There's the hook onto Snuggly, a nice ultimate, and they're trying to go into a Chu. There's an Ego Speed with the ultimate there as well. He's trying to get down a Chu in the backline, but a Chu able to tank it out. That is a massive, massive ADM ultimate, perfectly flanked, as the Orianna ultimate again is just a little bit lackluster onto Soft. A Chu now trying to dive in, but is really respecting that Orianna dissonance. And in the meantime, Aragon has taken an inhibitor, well, almost taken an inhibitor on the bottom side of the map. It should go down. He is respecting the Rek'Sai quite a lot here.
I think you can just take this.
I think you just take it. I think just take it. Wait for your 3 shots to come up and go for it. As another fight breaks out on the top side of the map, Flash is forced to be burnt. And finally, the inhibitor goes down. That is a massive win for Phelan. They've generated so much pressure now on that bottom side of the map.
I understood the reasoning for Bulldogs to go aggressive there. They wanted to find the play. They were scared of Phelan starting the Baron when Ego Speed had no TP. But they ended up just giving up so much in the bot lane. 2 towers and inhibitor down. And now, I don't realistically see a way for them to defend against a triple Mountain Drake Baron take from Phelan. They just have to wait for the supers to push in, and Ego Speed still doesn't have teleport. And that ultimate came in from ADM. He used a Spellbinder that did so much damage.
Oh, it was nice. It was finally that kind of the ADM level Vel'Koz play that we were expecting from him. And
still quite haven't seen the big shockwave from Calwood. Did manage to kill off Soft, but that's the thing. If Phelan go for a Baron here, and Calwood just gets a massive shockwave, that could turn things around. But it looks like both teams looking for this Infernal Dragon first, and that is one I wouldn't want to give up. Yeah, 5 Drakes actually being taken before the Elder spawns, which is a very high Dragon game. We don't usually see this many getting taken in the UKLC. Now Phelan positioning, there is a flank opportunity for Ego Speed as Achu is just trying to get a bit of damage across with his culling. That is an awkward bit of positioning there, Achu. I would have been very careful about putting yourself isolated like that. Soft on the sidelines, he's going to spy out Ego Speed now. This is actually a really tense situation. I genuinely think this team fight could go either way because the goal differences are still so close. There is the shockwave, maybe what we wanted. A hook goes through, an ultimate from ADM, but it's not really hitting that many people, zoning a few people out of the back line. But right now, Achu and ADM are doing so much damage. There goes Tillian with the ultimate. Achu now on fire, and here comes ADM following up with all of his abilities, but he can't quite land those crucial ones at the end. But at the end of it, Soft is the one who gets the Infernal Dragon, so they come out ahead. A 2-for-2 trade. Both members across the map, so the teams walk away, but I'd definitely be in Phelan's favor for picking up that dragon.
That's 5 Drakes. That activates a huge Elder Dragon win condition as well for Phelan. No matter how late this goes versus that Kai'Sa Orianna, which arguably scales better, you still have the Elder Dragon that you now have to worry about. If that gets picked up by Phelan, you can kiss goodbye to your game. And it looks like Phelan are even going to go for a cheeky attempt at the Baron here.
Yeah, they will start this one up.
That's going down so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's triple Mountain and Infernal. I'm not sure if Tolium even makes it in time.
I don't think he does. I think this is just a free Baron now. The teleport coming in way too late from Ego Speed. And the Baron has already been taken. The triple Mountain Drake activated, but Bulldogs, they are chasing Phelan like a bone. They are not done with this game right now. They want to try and punish.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going very deep, but Phelan are completely respecting that, backing away, and now in the stage of the tower, they have that Baron. And they're in a very comfortable position. Tolium, I'm not sure about his positioning.
No, he's a little bit out of the... oh, that was a really, really nice... I like that from Snuggly.
You know what? I got to respect the attempt.
I got to respect the attempt. But that teleport may prove more crucial than we thought. Look at the pressure now in the bottom side of the map. That inhibitor that is respawning moderately soon, but there is no teleport for Ego Speed.
Yeah.
So if Aragon just pushes that lane in, Ego Speed will never be able to react.
The only saving grace is that Aragon also used his TP in the end to scare the Baron. If he hadn't, I'd be very, very concerned. Oh, Snuggly makes it back.
He makes it back. Oh, there you go, Snuggly. You get the return.
Gets a redemption, but now you can see Triple Mountain Infernal. They're pushing down those towers fast, and you have to look to Ego Speed. You have to look for him to make a miracle engage. A shockwave comes off of it. That is where I see Bulldogs getting back in this game, but for now, things are definitely looking Phelan favored.
We've not seen that big Wombo combo win condition from this Orianna that's arguably at a great point in the game with the Rabadons finished as well. She just hasn't had the impact that you felt that she should have done. As Tillian again, he's the one forcing. He's the one forcing, and he's just not getting rewards for it. I really think it should be Ego Speed. He's got the more reliable engage.
Yeah, they put the ball on Ego Speed. He went forwards, but it just didn't happen. And the thing is, if you look, Aragon and ADM, neither of them have flashes. You get them in that Cataclysm, and they are getting Orianna ulted. There is no way they avoid it. And I just feel like you have to pull the trigger before that bot lane shoves in, which you can see happening now. And Ego Speed, he's looking for it now.
He looks for it. There's the big ultimate. Oh, we're looking for the wombo combo. A great Zonya's there. And ADM managed to dodge it out. Aragon gets some damage down in the backline, and it's still a Chu that is untouched. The master behind the Phelan strategy in these team fights, and he is still completely untouched by anybody from Bulldogs.
Yeah, Bulldogs. Even in terms of players, but the HP advantage on the Chu going to come in huge. Super Minions pushing in bot means Gould has to go handle it, so now Phelan going to push in mid.
Chu just really getting aggressive now. He's at that 3-item spike with the rapid fire cannon as well. This is the point in the game where Lucian can really come online. And although we've got a 3-item Kai'Sa, she just can't trade versus him at this point. He is such a menace, and they're going for that second inhibitor. Coward doesn't have that ultimate up available, so that team fight and that skirmishing potential from Bulldogs is a little bit lower than it potentially could be at this point in the game. But Phelan are going to respect. They're going to respect the Orianna damage, and they're going to back away.
Yeah, they see the respawns coming through, so we'll back off. And I got proven wrong there. You know, I said if Ego Speed gets both of them in a Cataclysm, there's no way that Shockwave can miss. I was wrong. I mean, yes, it was a good stopwatch from ADM, but the Shockwave actually just flat out missed Aragon.
It missed Aragon, yeah.
Which, I guess if that happens, you can still miss the Shockwave. So, but I mean, I think that's just sort of the pressure. You have to get all these things to go in tandem for Bulldog to get back in this game. We said how they went too far behind in the mid game, but now almost, well, yeah, 5k goal behind. And with 30 seconds on that Elder and the 5-dragon buff, things are getting really scary right now. Bulldog's going to try and establish some vision, potentially look for a pick here. But the thing is, if you 50-50 that dragon, if you get it, cool. You stop the inevitable loss of the game. But if you lose it, you've just lost the game there and then.
I agree.
Not inevitable loss, but the inevitable sort of difficulties of the Elder Dragon.
What I will say, though, is that we're in a situation where Bulldogs want to fight in these circumstances. Oh, that's a big Shockwave, already doing a huge amount of damage across Bulldogs. Shock Blast. But we are in a situation where we're around a Dragon Pit, which is a great situation for an Orianna. Ego Speed, not the place you want to be, my dude. That is a great knockup by ADM.
Oh, they get you!
They get a Chu in the backline, but Aragon now pushing onto Coward. He's got so much damage. He goes down. Now going onto Gould on the backline too. Gould flashes away, gets the double kill, but the rest of his team is being eaten alive by the Void Monster that is ADM. And it is a 3-for-2 trade at the end of the day. And actually, with Soft still up, 3 Mountain Drakes on the board, they're going to go straight for Elder.
Yeah, no way to contest it, and although things look good when they manage to find the kill onto a Chu, it's not enough. ADM untouched, and they're able to clean up and get that Elder Dragon, and that is a painful buff to have, especially when you look at the composition of Phelan. One Shock Blast or one of those tentacle lasers from ADM, there's going to be a massive true damage burn on you. It is so difficult to play against, and Phelan definitely in control of the game right now.
And if Phelan even want to play this slower, you've got a triple Mountain Drake with Elder Dragon and a Baron coming up in a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucian could solo Baron at that stage and point.
I think, so let's say you do 100 damage with an auto, you would do normal more at this point, but you would get 45 extra true damage. You're getting 45% extra true damage from this Elder, and that's not even including the burn. That's just from the Mountain Drake. So yes, this is a very fast dragon. I feel like at this point, you could probably just put all your pressure bot and have someone solo it, but I think Phelan's just going to put 5 members towards the top side of the map and have Aragon push on that bot side. TPs are coming up for both top laners soon, but for now, Bulldogs are looking for the engage before Aragon gets set up.
Yeah, but the teleports are coming up very soon, and it looks like Phelan are just going to really respect that engage coming out from Bulldogs. Aragon has managed to push this wave very quickly. Pings are going to be coming out soon because he has got the triple mountain. He's got the Elder. He can chunk through those turrets incredibly quickly.
I think crucially, I'm not sure if, because I know Achu doesn't have the triple, the Elder buff. I think Aragon doesn't have it either.
Oh, Aragon might not have it,
so unfortunately,
actually, yeah.
but
Still
which is probably the 2 best members you want to have it, so a bit unfortunate, but ADM having it, you can see how quickly this will burn down.
They haven't even got a Chu here, and a Chu steps in. Look at the damage that ADM is doing to that Baron.
That is a quick Baron. Probably one of the faster ones you'll see, but now Phelan have that, they're in control. They're going to start pushing towards your top side. They have the super minions in mid, and they have Aragon pressuring bot. Now, if I was Bulldogs, I would try and find a very fast engage, top or bot. Pick one, doesn't matter which. Looks like the pings are coming out bot lane. They're wanting to kill Aragon, so will he manage to escape this?
Well,
is the question.
They are setting up with Ego Speed, who is now moving
Yeah,
in, jumps in. There we go. There's the ultimate, potentially. Orianna's got the ball on herself. Late ultimate onto Aragon. Will he get away? He might even just get away. It was an awkward engage, and that is going to spell disaster as Phelan now find that place to strike. The Wolf bites through the top lane and picks up another inhibitor. A massive error from Coward and Ego Speed there.
Yeah, and Aragon able to survive that, and then, the engage actually comes in from Ego Speed. Will find him in the end, so a bit of a misplay, but even so, Phelan still very much in control of this game.
Oh,
Achu, though.
Achu completely out of position, forced to flash. There's the ultimate, isolates the cat. A massive zoning ADM ultimate gets a huge amount of damage done as Soft now pushes onto Gould and Coward. ADM picks up another kill. Absolutely one-shots, and Phelan have shown the better of the dogfight. The Wolf beats the Bulldog, and they are now pushing down towards the Nexus.
Yeah, I don't think there's much they can do to stop this. 4 members pushing down. Gould and Ego Speed can try their best.
I don't think there's anything they can do. Gould's GA gets popped. Ego Speed just pop the stopwatch, but it is purely for show, as Phelan have the numbers advantage. They have the game in their hands, and despite a little bit of BM at the end, they pick up the win.
Yeah, and so it wasn't massively one-sided. There was definitely some life from Bulldogs, but I think Phelan, I've complained about them week in, week out. They haven't looked cohesive. They've played well individually, but not as a team. They changed that today.
Yeah.
They changed that.
I think Phelan looked incredible, and congratulations to them. They are going to be advancing to tomorrow. They keep those hopes alive of putting the fate of the playoffs partially into their own hands.
Yeah, and I think more than ever, with how dicey things have been at the top end, sometimes when it gets towards playoffs, you think, okay, we won this game, but are we really going to make it? But now, things have been going really wrong for some of the teams, like XL, like Fnatic. So you could very realistically think, you know, if we just get a couple of good weeks behind us, we can make it to that top 4.
Yeah, I think pending what happens with the games through the rest of the day, remember, XL and Fnatic do have to pick up wins. Last week, they were knocked out in the round of 8, which was unusual for those teams. Let's have a look at the MVP for that game. It was... ding, 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 ding. Snugly, he picks up the MVP for that game on his Gragas. Great engages, great isolations. Just an all-round hero for the Bulldogs team.
I mean, the crucial things come up below, the vision score and the kill participation. This is one of the things that I was sort of saying, Phelan needed a leader. And I feel like Snugly stepped up today because they seem like a team. And this is the first time I can say that they seem like a coordinated team. So credit to him. A good individual play, and it seemed like he brought the team together as well. So good on them.
Yeah, congratulations to Phelan, because they will be going through to our draw for tomorrow, where they'll be facing up the winners of the remaining games. We have coming up next M&M taking on Enclave, which is going to be an absolute brilliant display. I think that's going to be a really close one. Enclave obviously have been showing promise. M&M had a great week over the last 2 weeks of the UKLC. And then we're going to have XL then taking on Barrage, and then Fnatic taking on Darkspawn once again.
I mean, the next game is going to be a close one, no doubt. But those games 4 and 5, if you asked me before the split how close those games going to be, I'd be a bit like, not too much. But now I'm like,
especially the Barrage XL game,
anything could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Barrage have shown, they have some standout players. I mean, Krumel, as he used to play on XL, has won the split. You have Artorias in the top lane, been around for years, has a brother called Prospect, if you didn't know. But they have this veteran roster, and I think that with XL's coming form, they could definitely challenge them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to be jumping to a very short break. When we're back, we'll be covering our next game, game 2 of the night, M&M taking on Enclave. We'll see you there.
Don't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, we're not going to break just yet.
Yeah,
we're going to dance.
We're chilling.
We were testing you.
Yeah,
we're not going to break.
You guys actually thought we were going to break.
No, that's not the real throw.
You fell for it.
That's not the real throw. The real throw is going to be something along these lines. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back after the break, we'll be going to the next game in the series, M&M taking on Enclave. Yes, that will be coming up in just a few moments, and this is the real throw to break. Thanks, Borja.
Hopefully.
welcome back to the UKLC. We haven't debated you this time. We are actually here, actually live for our second game
Are
of
we?
the
Are
day.
you certain?
I don't know. Anyway, we're here for M&M taking on Enclave. I'm joined by Gragas, and we are going to jump into this next game. We're going to jump into this next game with M&M and Enclave. It's going to be a close one. I love you, mate. Come on.
Bring it in.
Yeah, okay. It's
Like,
okay.
you sure you can hug me with my big belly?
I don't know. You're really huggable.
Oh, thank you.
It must be all those beer cakes that you drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, this is going to be a close one, though. I think we've talked a little bit about it, like the power level of these two teams. M&M have had a great last few weeks. They were Tower champions. They then beat Fnatic. And I think in general have been on the upward trajectory just a little bit. Enclave, they were upwards, and then they started to decline just a little bit more. So I think overall, these two teams could go either way. I think you rated this at 60-40 in favor of M&M, but that really kind of is quite close in terms of when you look at league statistics and odds.
Yeah, I mean, I think Enclave have been pretty solid. They've had some really good games, but they haven't quite found their stride, apart from that game against Fnatic Rising, but that was just coming off the back of M&M beating them. I haven't seen them come out in a game and think, wow, these guys are really top of the league, but they have had some solid performances, so I think this will be the big test for them. I think if they can walk over M&M here, that will really say, okay, these guys are here to play. But M&M so far, I mean, getting the Tower Championship off Fnatic was a pretty big thing. They had that massive run in week 3, I believe, so they've had a lot of good performances, but also some not so good ones. They've had some performances where I've been a bit like, why did you pick that? Why did you play like that? So, you know, as long as you don't see nulties at least, should be pretty good.
So we're going to be looking at, I think, primarily jungle mid for Enclave. That's kind of been where they've rotated things around. And then we're going to have to relay that over to the side of M&M, which has always been really about Monk for the most part. Monk has been one of the stand-up performers for M&M. But then we've got to look at their jungle mid combo and how they're going to keep up with Enclave.
Yeah.
Where do you think the strengths and weaknesses of both of these teams are lying?
I think the big difference is that Wiseek has always been really strong in the early game.
Yes.
Mid-game has fallen off a bit in some areas. So that might be a bit of a concern for me. And I think often they have these team fights in the mid to late game where the execution is just not quite there. So I'd probably look at M&M to, I mean, they've had great team fights when they played around Monk. The thing is, they just have to stop them from falling apart in the early game, because we've seen sometimes where, again, Nolty's picked that Elise and he's just absolutely gotten crushed. And that actually happened against Wiseek in one of their matchups where, you know, he just found the Elise level 2, trying to take that Skull Crab, took him out, and then got the crab as well. So I think really you just need to survive the early game. I think pick something safe and stable for Nolty and Chibs, or something that can 2v2 very well, and then get to the point where, you know, as it goes, Monk will carry.
Absolutely. So we are going to be diving into what is going to be a tense matchup. Enclave do need to get this win to give themselves a real run at the playoffs and put it in their own hands as well, because if they can knock out M&M, M&M are 8 points, Enclave are 3 right now. So there is a situation where if Enclave have a really good run this week, they're putting themselves up there in terms of point gaining.
I mean, that's the thing, is it's a double whammy, because unlike the game before where Phelan beat Bulldogs, sure, it gets Phelan close to the playoffs, but Bulldogs, they're not really the team they were massively competing with. Right now, this is direct competition, because Enclave are on 3 points, M&M are on 8. If Enclave knock M&M out here, and then they go on the miracle run and make it to the top as Tower champions, that would then put them on equal footing going into next week, and being at the top of the tower is an advantage in itself. So definitely, this could sow the seeds for the rest of the tournament and how playoffs develop. So big one for both teams.
Because if we're looking at the playoffs right now, you've got the top 4 teams who are Fnatic, Diabolus, XL and Enclave. I think Fnatic are 12, Diabolus are 10 points, and then XL and 8 are 8 and 8. And then the closest is Enclave on 3.
Yeah.
So we have a rift that is separated and sort of grown between our bottom 4 teams and our top 4 teams. However, with just 3 weeks left of play, and with matchups like this in the workings, we have a situation where we could see Enclave bridge that gap and put themselves within range of both XL and M&M, but specifically M&M because of this matchup. So
I mean, that's the thing, yeah. If you knock them out here, they're not getting any points for this week. You can gain so much ground on them. And then, I mean, if you get all 5 points, you'll essentially equalize in just that 1 week. And then also, you're guaranteed 3 points next week from being the Tower champion. So you put yourself in a really good position, but it all comes down to this first game. They have to win this one to get anywhere, and I think it's going to be a close one, but crucially, I think one of the advantages that Enclave had against Fnatic was they picked that Nico AD carry, which was very strong. I think they were the first ones to pick it up. No one else really was that interested. Now I think every team is aware of it. I don't think it's going to be given over as easily, and it sort of raises a question without that power pick, because obviously we know they have a strong mid jungle. Governor's been really stepping up recently, and Raisins has been really solid. But I feel like if you don't have a pick for Kevo where he's just a complete super late game win condition, what happens when we get late and Monk's on something that offers that?
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're looking at the Kevo Monk matchup, you're looking at Monk and saying probably arguably the stronger AD carry out of the two of them.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I think obviously Nico has now been fixed on live, I believe. She's had like a hot fix to the way that her damage works.
Not on 9.4.
Not on 9.4. So he's been getting banned. It was banned in the first game.
I expected to see a pretty permanent red side ban because in the last week we saw only Enclave pick it up, but then teams were wary of it. Now every team's aware of its strength, and I think the crucial thing is that it can flex as well. You can play in that top lane pretty well as a split pusher, similar to sort of like the AD Kennen we used to have.
Yes.
And it's just so hard to deal with. So I think it's going to get banned pretty quickly off the table. We'll have to see if Enclave have something else to offer in sort of spicy picks.
Well, we'll see as we are into picks and bans between M&M and Enclave. And the first ban is going to be targeted right at Visek. It is going to be his Kindred taken off the table. Something that we know he is a very strong performer on. And again, immediate target bans coming through. The Yorick coming through Governor doesn't feel like he was as comfortable on that, I think, compared to his usual champ pool.
Yep.
And taking that away from Mummus as well, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, that would be the concerns for me, is that Mummus can go on a big split push and run. I think that's the thing, is that M&M have a variety of win conditions, where for Enclave, you're really seeing that like in the early mid game, Isaac and Warzy carry, and then later on it's more on Kevo. But I haven't seen them sort of do as much as M&M have in providing a carry a game for any person on the roster to carry.
2 target bans towards the mid-jungle combo of Visek and Vorsi.
Understandably.
I mean,
his Zoe was monstrous.
His Zoe was disgusting, and I'm very glad to see that taken off the table for M&M. Chibs does not feel as comfortable going up against Vorsi's Zoe, and why would you? It is a very strong pick for him, and I think M&M just taking out some of those key comfort picks, because that's what Phelan did last game, by the way. It was comfort all the way, and it worked for them. It was a little bit rocky. The road wasn't quite smooth, but they made it through that game, and they are now finding themselves in our draw for tomorrow. So M&M sort of trying to eliminate some of those comfort picks for pretty much everybody, with Jarvan being taken off the board as well. Mummus doesn't either want to play that or give Governor the pleasure of just having that easy champ to play.
Yeah, he's been really solid on that Jarvan, and I think Jarvan Galio is a combo we saw a lot of priority on last week. The Galio is still open without Jarvan. It's not quite as much strength. And then on the other side, Enclave banning away that Aurelia, which you've seen Chibs consistently want to play in the mid lane, and then M&M looking at that Galio, which is a good denial from Raisins as well. And it's a bit of an interesting one because Shogun hasn't shied away from playmakers, but he's very much been a thresh man in the last couple of weeks. But now he's going for that Galio, which, again, good denial to Raisins. You're going to see what Enclave take on this rotation in order just to respond to that. There's still stuff like the Rek'Sai available. You still have the Lucian up, which is a pretty solid AD carry pick, but isn't going to do as well later on. Comes down to what they want to prioritize.
Do Enclave think they can snowball things away? With the Lucian coming through, it tells us that they are focusing towards that mid-game snowball type of composition. There is a potential pick coming through. Rise does get locked in here, so what do you make of the Rise? I'm almost certain that's not a Governor top lane Rise. I'm assuming that's going to go straight over to Vorsi.
I'm a really big fan of the Rise. I think it's really good for kiting back and also pinning down targets. I've seen a couple more builds. A lot of people prioritizing Rylai's on him now.
And we've seen the Righteous Glory.
The Righteous Glory as well. It basically just means like you're so tanky, you're essentially a root bot, but you also pump out a lot of damage.
You've got a lot of base damage on Rise, yeah.
And also because of the mana, so you pump out a lot of damage and you can just chase people down. And I think like in a long lane, if you're split pushing as a Rise, I mean, this is true even without that build, you can run people down pretty effectively, and it gives them that 1-3-1 win condition if they get into the later stages.
Also gives them a really good way to solidify engage. If you go Righteous Glory Rise, you've got an engage tool with the Rise. I mean, you can Righteous Glory your team in some way, you know, especially when you're running with a mid-game composition like Lucian and you maybe want to force the issue. We saw it with, it was like a Cassiopeia Rise where they both went Rylai's Righteous Glory. That was the Misfits game, I believe, where they Forbiven and was it Hans Summer? They went for the Cassio Rise. Right? I didn't quite get it on the Cassio, but it was like I think they wanted to snowball that game. They wanted to be able to just.
And I think it's just champions already pump out so much damage already. We do see the Lissandra and the Kai'Sa locked in. So Kai'Sa is something the Monk has definitely favored when he's not on that Cogmore.
Yeah.
And then the Lissandra, Chibs has been really solid on this. Got MVP in his first competitive game ever, which was in the UKLC, but that does give over the Braum. That Lucian Braum quite a solid bot lane. But interestingly, we've talked so much about the jungler because Isaac has that massive impact, but they've decided to leave him to the second rotation. So going to be interesting to see what he picks up. That Rek'Sai's still available right now.
Yeah, do we think M&M have got more target bans for Visek, or do you think we're just very happy to say, okay, we can put bans towards Governor, we can put, I mean, who actually, to be fair, I mean, I think if you're Enclave and M&M, you're probably going to try and limit top lane for Enclave to make sure you're not facing up anything that makes Governor uncomfortable. I think if you're M&M, you're doing what you're seeing here, which is limiting that Visek champion.
I think so. I mean, the early game pressure from Visek is what really popped off. An interesting question could be, are Enclave going to want the counter pick in the jungle or in the top lane? Because Governor's someone who, he hasn't always been the person to run away with the counter pick in the top lane. He tends to hold his own pretty confidently, but that's going to be taken on the card. And actually, the Vladimir getting banned away. We did see Kerberos playing a lot of it top.
Yes, we did. And I think also it spells out that Governor's not looking for a big trading top laner. He's looking for someone that's just going to kind of soak up damage, be a bit more of a tank-orientated top laner. With the Vladimir ban, you know that you're not looking for someone that's going to be looking to be effective in trades. So
Yeah,
I think that probably spells to me that Enclave are going to be picking their top laner and then giving the last pick over to their jungler. I assume, with the way this has panned out.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to them. It depends. Do they want? I mean, I would personally, just based on how Enclave tend to play, but we've seen some mixed things. I wouldn't have expected to see Governor Yorick before the split, but he brought it out. So it comes down to where they want to put their sort of the weight on to carry. And up until now, it's always been Wisek. So it would make sense to me if they pick a sort of stable top laner here and then went to the jungle. But
no, okay.
They're opting there. They're putting their faith in the Governor basket. So they're going for the Sejuani, which works well with the Braum. It gives a lot of CC potential and good team fighting. I mean, to me, if you look at Enclave's composition, this is you pick one target and they die.
Yeah.
They have so much single target damage and lockdown. It's very difficult to play against. And it'll be interesting to see, oh, you know what champion does good against single target lockdown?
Solaf.
Olaf, yeah, he's pretty good against single target lockdown because he has his ultimate, which makes him un-CCable. So makes sense to pick that out here. And then seeing...
That's a gauntlet being thrown down by Mummus,
yeah.
I think. I think if I was Enclave here, I'd be considering something like Renekton, maybe.
I think if my top laner was Whippo, I'd pick Renekton. But I'm not sure how confident Governor is in that matchup because it can go either way.
Yeah, it's a 50-50.
If you've been watching the LEC, it's gone very much either way and it's down the skill. Looks like he might actually lean towards something else. I've seen Governor play the Camille before, but not recently, and this does very much play into that 1-3-1.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going through a potential double teleport 1-3-1, although you're seeing the cleanse being offered up from Riot here. Whether he goes spellbook or not, that's the question. But he's got the cleanse right now, and I guess that is very sensible versus Alessandra.
Yeah, to sort of reduce that split push potential, but the theory is you can still put the Rise top and then put the Camille bot lane, so you're focused on that when you're focusing on the Baron.
Triple teleport coming out from M&M though.
Yeah, so I mean, they're going to be in a good position to match it. We have the double cleanse from Enclave. I think, to me, they're like, we want Governor to be able to split effectively. We have very good single target damage just to take down one person and the CC. But for M&M is that they have such good dive. Like, their dive is just insane. You get Mummus and Nulti and Chibs running on the back line, you can instantly have the bot lane follow up with their long-range ultimates. If you get on top of that Ryze, you get on top of that Lucian, they just die so quickly. So I think, for me, it's going to come down to, can Enclave set up the team fight, or if they, can they set up the split push, or if they can't, can they do a slow team fight front to back? Whereas for M&M, it's, we want to kill their carries. Just absolutely without a doubt. We want to get on the carries, we want to murder them, and then when they respawn, we want to kill them again. So,
this is a bit of a change of pace for Enclave, because this is actually a composition that has given Governor more responsibility than I think he's ever had in an Enclave composition. Do we think that is a good move for Enclave?
Yeah, I mean, I think going off how the recent weeks have gone, I think, again, you asked me this question before the split, and I was critical in some ways of Governor because I felt like he was unconfident to play carries and take those difficult matchups. This isn't the easiest matchup for the Camille, but she scales very well out of it. And he's gone, look, guys, trust me. So clearly, we saw last week he was doing better on the Jarvan. He's finding his confidence, which is good to see. And now his team have gone, look, we trust you. We're putting the game on your shoulders. And obviously, there are other tools from the other members. But to put Wisek, who's been so strong early on the Sejuani, is very much a change of pace. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
So, diving into M&M versus Enclave, kind of touched on the 1-3-1 split push win condition with the front to back of Enclave. Let's take a look at M&M. You've talked about dive from them.
Dive.
They also scale really well, though, as well.
Dive. Probably some more dive.
Some more dive.
They're scaling. I mean, the Kai'Sa's nice, but the rest of them, I mean, Lissandra in the very late game, Lissandra in the late game against a Ryze isn't going to have as much impact. Yeah. Especially when people start to pick up, well, they already have cleanses, but more defensives. Aatrox, there is a point where like an AD carry can just sort of shred through him in the late game, and you have to play him very well to be effective. I think, again, in the late game, they can still win team fights, absolutely, if they find the right sort of backline flanks or dive. But if they play front to back, their front line's pretty weak going later on. I mean, the Olaf isn't really that valuable in the late game team fights. So I think very much it's going to come down to get that early impact, get that mid-game impact, and just crush from there.
Yeah, well, you saw the roster flash up for M&M there, Monk really being that target player for the M&M roster as he always has been. We are jumping onto the Rift here for M&M, taking on Enclave in our second game of the UKLC Week 5.
Yeah, and we said this was going to be a hypey matchup, and I think both compositions delivered, because I don't think there's ever a point where I'd say either composition's out. Because if Bulldogs find that miracle dive onto the backline of Phelan, there's always potential for them to sort of challenge them. And I think, although Camille's going to be great in the split later on, there's not a point where like Aatrox is useless unless he's put really far behind. I mean, he can still do pretty good damage in the trade, and especially with his ult, he's not the easiest person to dive in the world.
So we're starting things off here. Very defensive lines. Nothing. I mean, we haven't really seen much crazy level 1s at all, or many crazy level 1s at all in the UKLC. We are just chilling out here as Enclave and M&M. This is a very, very important match for the coming weeks here. The winner of this sets themselves up to really solidify their place in the playoffs. If M&M win, you think they've solidified their place in the playoffs at least. If Enclave win, then they are going to give themselves an opportunity to push for the playoff spot.
Yeah, fortunately, you do have the wrong names at the top. We'll get those changed pretty quickly, don't worry about that. But it is M&M against Enclave, as you can see from the side. So, like you said, both teams going for a bit of a slow start. We will see. Said you want to start on that blue, and Nulty actually starting with the Raptors camp. Pretty easy to clear as the Olaf with those cleavers. But interesting to see the pattern, because what this says to me is that Nulty might go for the Raptors, Red, and then Krog start, or alternatively, he could head towards that Scuttle. But this is the sort of Predator traditional jungle start, where you take all of your red side jungle, you then recall, and you have your boots instantly.
Oh, that's such a cool Aatrox skin. Okay, we've got Diablo here for an interview. I think we're literally interviewing the floating head from Diabolus.
Who has summoned the Lord Diablo? Hello, meatbags.
Hey, dude, how is it going, Diablo? You're at the top of the tower right now. I mean, what kind of evil, nefarious lair have you created up there?
Well, the minions have created a nice castle up here. We don't know what to do with it yet, but we have some weeks to decide what to do.
Oh, you're confident then. You're confident you're going to retain that position, fortified well against the upcoming challenges this week, Diablo. You're looking pretty confident. Your team feeling confident too?
Of course. My minions are always confident.
So who do you think is going to have the honor of being crushed by your minions this week? Who do you think is going to make it to the challenge?
I mean, it could be anyone. I mean, everyone's below us. That is the point. Diablos reigns supreme. But if I had to decide, it would likely be XL.
Ooh, XL over Fnatic. Diablo coming out with the big predictions, and obviously being the Lord of Destruction, the King of Hell, you obviously can see the future too. So we'll hold you to that, Diablo, as we head towards the top of the tower. And do you know what? It's been a pleasure to talk to you, your Lord of Darkness. It's always nice to hear from the other side of the rift.
How's the weather there?
Absolutely. I must go. I have to torture some Timo players.
Of course. All of your spawn. Oh, we are waiting for potential first blood, as I know that you do like sort of blood sacrifices and blood offerings. So we'll see which team which team do you think is going to present you with that first offering, Diablo?
Well, we have someone that we have on our list called Mans, and he has been talking about how he is top 2. So hopefully we expect it from Enclave.
Oh, well, unfortunately, it was M&M that picked up the first blood. However, it's all in your name, of course, Diablo, and you can be happy with any offering for yourself. It has been wonderful to talk to you, and I hope to see you later on towards the end of the tower.
Oh, ex-scoundrel, you will see me in the future.
So,
Yeah,
that's got to be the weirdest interview I've ever done.
just another day in the office for me. Yeah, so we did see that Fierce Blood. They managed to punish Warzy on this rise, and I'm pretty sure that Naughty. I was kind of distracted by the demon who was on the screen. So I'm pretty sure it. Oh, they're actually going for a dive here on a Mummus.
Oh, Mummus is very, very low. Mummus going in. Oh, Governor forced a flash. That is a huge amount of damage as Weissek jumps in. What is going on? Weissek misses everything, and now Governor left in no man's land. Surely he's just oh no again! A double kill for Mummus. Oh, it was just like lemmings off a cliff.
There's no analysis for that. There's top two, by the way. Top two, by the way.
Let it sink in.
Top two team is what Enclave's coach had to say about them. Would you say that was a top two play?
I can neither comment for or against, but that was definitely not a top two play.
That was something, all right. Yeah, just a bit overzealous. The tower does a lot of damage, and I think both of them just overconfident.
Look at that disgusting pickup from Mummus on his first back, Kindle Gem and Hammer.
So we talked about how obviously Camille scales pretty well in the split push. You have to actually get gold for that to happen.
Oh, this is good. Governor's lane's done.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Oh, sorry, I'm just getting. The referee says there's been a decision. No, Enclave can't FF at 6 minutes, unfortunately.
Oh God. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Well, they can still fight front to back pretty well.
When you're playing 4v5?
It's not over till it's over, okay?
No, that's true. That's true.
It was funny to see. It's funny to laugh about. But there's still some hope. They still have that rise. They still have the Sejuani Braum in the team fight.
We scale better, guys. We scale better. Just gotta get to late game.
Wait for late game.
Just wait for late game.
It was just unlucky. But a top laner wins early, Happens. I've had games that have gone worse than this, arguably, and still managed to win.
Sure, of course. Nulty now looking to punish that as, oh my word, they are looking to rub salt in the wounds. Governor has got nothing to do. The ultimate is up for Chibs. Absolutely decimated here as the ultimate comes through. He's just dead. That is, oh, goodness me. And that is probably going to be a tower take with all of that plating too, as well as...
They'll get a lot of plating. I'm not sure if they'll get the tower, but
they've got so many minions. The vote on Twitch chat said Eminem take the 77%, and so far Twitch chat, you are looking like the prophets in this situation because it is 4-0 with a 2.
I just want to see what Mummus Baxton gets. He got so much gold there. He already had a lot. Pick the boots.
Oh, he picks up the cloth armor.
I'm kind of disappointed now.
Nothing too fancy. Nothing too fancy.
I'm very disappointed.
I think they intentionally left that tower up. I'm wondering whether they just want to continue to exploit Governor now, who's on a double longsword.
I think there's two factors. One, you might be a bit of an overstay to take that now, because Governor would be coming back, and if Weissek was there as well, it could be dicey. But also, as you said, this now leaves Governor in a really vulnerable position. Any time that the Sandra Olaf walks up, you just die. There's no counterplay because the Aatrox tanks the tower and can rebirth. The Olaf is going to get CC'd, so you can just run at you and DPS you down. And all the Lysandra has to do is press R. So there really isn't much of a counterplay, but Weissek's back top, and I think he might look for something here. Oh, the interrupt. Oh, and the hook shot. That's so unfortunate.
And Mummus knows because Governor was playing way too aggressive for someone that is, almost 20 CS down, a huge amount of gold down as well. And he's just going to try and freeze this lane. There's the engage there from Governor. There's the ultimate coming in from Weissek. They're going to try and get the freeze up. I think they'll get the kill. The shutdown does go over to the Sejuani. Maybe not ideal for where you want the gold to be placed, but that is a nice shutdown onto Mummus.
Yeah, and just a bit of a misplay from Mummus. I mean, he didn't have ult. He saw how aggressive Governor was being. I think that should have clued you up, as you said, to back off and play it safer. But in the end, he just ends up going down and giving a big shutdown goal over. So, it's not over yet for Enclave. They still very much have hope. but are now at a bit of a gold deficit, so they're going to have to bring things back still, even after that play top lane.
Well, it was a start. A start for the comeback for Enclave.
Yeah.
There is a large wound on the top side of the map, and it's going to take more than a few plasters to stop the hemorrhaging.
Absolutely, but
It's probably going to take a lot of cauterizing and tourniquets, and all of that's going to have to come from Visek here, who any attention that you draw away from the Vorsi-Visek combo is always good, and they're going to continue with. I love this. Usually you'll see teams playing around Dragon first, then go to Rift Herald, but they're going to utilize their really strong top lane presence for Eminem and just go straight for that Rift Herald early on.
They already picked up that first Mountain Drake, so
Well, it's already down,
they're
yeah.
pretty on pace just to get everything they want from this early game. The fact they got all those tower play-ins has put them quite a bit ahead. They pick up the Rift Herald, and now they're probably going to head towards our boss side again with that. There's not really much point of using the Rift Herald top. You could even throw it down mid, to be honest.
You could, if you go for a Chibs engage, maybe. I mean, Vorsi does have that.
Crucially, if you use it before 40 minutes, you're going to get a chunk of tower play in, a load of gold.
Yeah.
And it threatens another tower. I don't think I would want to use it top because it's so low already.
And you're really not going to get that much more out of that top
Yeah.
lane. I mean, all Mullus needs to do is take a good trade, and then he can get a few basic attacks down.
Yeah, absolutely. Was he playing pretty aggressive and in a good position now to challenge 1v1 against Warzy?
Vorsi does have that cleanse available. We'll use it. Vorsi jumping out, forced to flash. Big shield comes through, and here comes Visek. He's right there at the right time. He's going to get a kill onto Chibs as Governor teleports through. That's a nice ultimate from Governor. He's going to lock him in as the Galio forces him back. What is going on with Vorsi on the back line? He goes down to Shogun's Ignite as Raisins is forced to pull his way up. Governor doing what he can, but the damage just isn't there. And in the meantime, they lose a turret.
Yeah, both teams overstepping a bit, but in the end, I feel like Eminem come out ahead because they get that top turret on top of everything. They hold the TP from Mummus. Well, I don't think they had it actually, but yeah, Governor has to TP in and still it's a fairly even trade up the back of things.
Vorsi, I think he ultimated into the back line.
Yeah, questionable.
Yeah, and the taunt from Galio was still there. Here goes the attempt on the Dragon. Maybe they feel like they have the pressure, but Mummus is walking down now, and you can see Enclave not going to commit to this.
Oh, and now the Rift Herald gets thrown down mid. Warzy's coming back from base, so they could actually just take this tower. I said they'd get a load of damage and plating, but this might just be enough to take the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, hits it, finally. And that is
Close, but not
huge
quite.
amount of plating. There is going to be a defense here from Enclave. I don't think they're going to go pick up the tower.
But you take the gold. I mean, it's pushing them further in the lead. They're now 3,000 ahead. This early on, that's pretty significant.
That is hugely significant. A lot of that is sitting now current. I mean, 2,000 of that is on bloody Mummus. Just miles ahead of Governor in the top lane. And honestly, I feel bad for Governor because we set up right at the start of this game, do we think it's right that Governor gets this much responsibility for Enclave? But it really wasn't. I don't feel like that was solely Governor's fault. I think there was
You got goaded into it. It's like when your friend at school tells you to do something stupid that's going to get you in trouble. And you don't want to, but he's like, come on, it'll be funny. And then you do it, and then you get just absolutely destroyed by your teachers and your parents. And you're like, well, what did I expect? That's how Governor must feel right now. That dive was just the questionable choice he got pushed into.
But if there is one man in the UKLC that can come back from a catastrophic laning phase, it has always been Governor.
Yeah, I feel like he's the sort of person who's just like, okay, I'm behind, it's whatever. You know, he's happy to play tank matchups where he just has to wave clear, so I don't think he's going to be too beat up about playing the Camille here. But it does mean Mummus is such a powerful force on the map right now. And he's just going to take this opportunity to roam down mid. And with no summoners, Warzy
Has to be careful, but saw it
backed
coming.
away. But I think they're just going to try and pressure the tower. They have 4 members mid. And you can see the controls already come in from Eminem. They're not actually going to... Are they? They're looking towards the mid tower, but I think the focus is that Cloud Dragon. Again, not the most impactful. We saw the power of 5 Dragon Elders in the last game.
Yeah, I mean, Governor's trying to let that lane freeze around his top side of the map. He's actually going to realize that pressure is being exerted elsewhere with Aatrox down bot side of the map, that they're just going to have to start to put some pressure back towards that top side. But yeah, this is looking dire for Enclave right now. This is the loss of all global objectives. They're losing towers, hemorrhaging turret plating, and even that bot lane matchup isn't going hugely in their favor as Shogun with a nice defense. They're onto Monk right now. Monk dives to the sidelines. That's a really good dodge. A big ultimate comes out from Raisins, a double whammy, and Kavo picks up a double kill.
And they find the 2v2, just overconfidence from Monk, stepping up too far. And the thing is, the taunt was used pretty early on. That is your main peel against Solution. And the thing is, he has Cleanse as well. And I think it's just, you know, the asset of a Kai'Sa is a late game. the asset of the Galio is the great team fighting and the follow-up and engage. But their 2v2 is pretty weak, and I think they just disrespected Kever and Raisins. And this is giving Enclave a route back in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. The pause does come through here as Chibs needs to reconnect. We're going to take a look. I think
let's break this down.
Let's break this down. Here you go,
so,
Dan.
Isaac decides he's going to take the tower aggro. Not yet. Oh, wait, he does take it now. So they're looking for the play on the Mummers, but a great flash dodges away from the hook shot. So now Isaac has tanked 2 tower hits, and then the last one comes on a Governor, and he is chunked, like very much so. Mummer still has to be careful, but Isaac misses the flash W, dies, and then Governor's like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. And he actually follows up on that play and ends up going down as well. So a bit of a dicey one. Crucially, there was a play you could make there. If you flash the hook shot after the flash from Mummus. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. They just try to finish him off and trade for his life, but in the end, doesn't get it. But yeah, if he flashed at the end of his hook shot and moved it to the location of Mummus's flash, he could have found...
You can flash after the hook shot, yeah.
Yeah, so...
It requires insane reactions.
You need a good read as well, but I feel like if you're going for that play, you go with that play with the confidence that we know he's going to flash. There's no player in the world who that dive happens to them and they sit there and go, oh, there's a hook shot coming. Should I flash? No. Every player does, so...
Well, this game is done already. GG Enclave Gaming. That's from Barrage Slimkins. And whilst I can agree...
5 minutes ago, yes.
5 minutes ago, yes. I do think Kavo and Raisins have given a lifeline to Enclave here. And it's actually the opposite of what we talked about previous to this. It was that double kill in the bot lane that's giving Kavo a double kill here. And we talked about Monk being the guy that we were turning eyes to from M&M, and he's the one that has been put pressure on by Enclave.
But crucially, all I can say is that Monk, yes, he's had some great play, but also just sheer overconfidence. Just absolute overconfidence. And you saw it in the game in the first week against Fnatic, where he played just way too aggressive, got punished for it. And I think a similar thing's happened here, where he doesn't respect the opponent and ends up falling behind. So, happens again.
We are just waiting for this pause with Chibs. Unfortunately, not quite in the game. A little bit of a reconnect situation going on, but Enclave, they're not out of it yet. I mean, in almost... Just going to quickly scoot my chair off the screen.
Is there a chair?
Yeah, there's a chair there. I'm going to scoot that off the screen. Obviously, a situation where your top laner goes that far behind early on, you give a double kill over to Aatrox. Replay has resumed. I'm going to bring my chair back.
Okay.
I got baited.
Wow, you sit down while you cast?
I sit down while I do everything.
Effort. Yeah, that's fair. We are old men here.
We are.
So, what are we turtle out? And that's going to close the gold gap pretty significantly, basically half it.
I mean, considering every piece of turret plating was almost taken by M&M in so previous to 14 minutes, we're now
bot.
Yeah, we're really looking at only a 1,200 gold difference, which is really good. They've managed to sort of steady the ship, and this is definitely not over yet, although the mid lane turret is going to go down here.
That turret's over, so it does push things a bit more in the favor, but again, Enclave's shown they have some life, and it's Kever and Raisins who gave birth to that life. Question is, can they keep things going, especially with that huge discrepancy top? I mean, you have the 30% CDR already from the Aatrox. Plenty more if he has in his runes, which I'm guessing he does. So getting towards that 40% point, it's going to be so hard to deal with. And now, M&M are grouping up as 5, and they just want to keep pressuring these outer towers. Last one is here to go down.
Yeah, a really good move from M&M. They're just constantly looking to take advantages where they can, with Governor really just trying to freeze in the top lane for the most part. It does leave one lane completely dead for Enclave, and that allows M&M to have the run of the field. They're even going to go for the tier 2 on this bottom side of the map, with Kavo being top, no teleport on the Lucian, of course. They're going to lose another tower here. Yeah,
they just have complete control of this bot side jungle, so they can push up really aggressively, and they get another tower, so Enclave making some questionable map decisions here, kind of biting them in the back.
And with the Black Cleaver finished by Mummus, then it's a big pickup for his ability to 1v1 and find more kills onto Governor. Governor, again, just giving the respect over to Mummus.
Oh, we've seen a fight come in.
Oh, a fight in the mid lane. There's Raisins front to back right now as no one is targeting Vorsi. That is going to be a dive in by the Olaf. He will get the kill, and it is now a 1-for-1.
Mummus is coming.
Jumps to the sideline. Vorsi's so low, he's going to go down to Shogun. A 2-for-1 trade at the end of the day. But it is Monk that goes down in favor of Vorsi and Raisins.
Yeah, so credit to M&M for turning that around well, but got a question, what is Monk doing to get caught out again? But Mummus might be the one caught out here.
Oh, they get a big hit. That was a little bit of a mismatch between Kavo. He does have the ultimate churning in. A big taunt goes in. Kavo in the middle. Not where you want to be as a Lucian, but he does get the kill onto Aatrox. A little bit messy from Enclave, but at least they get something out of the rubble.
They're buying time is a crucial thing, is that they were just losing gold across the map. At least they're stalling things out somewhat by doing this, but still it's not the greatest situation to be in. And I'm still getting a lot of gold. But crucially, Monk just has been completely falling on his face for these plays for Enclave. You know, he died in that 2v2 bot by overstepping. And then there, I mean, we didn't see because it was off camera, but I'm guessing he just got caught by the ult of Sejuani.
Look at the
being where it
item
should
difference.
be.
Look at the item difference between Lucian and Monk right now.
I mean, look at the CS and the kill difference. This is where the gap is really developing. It was what is keeping Enclave in this game.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. If the protection is there, yeah, I mean, we can look at the top as well.
Oh, that is 2 completed items.
For nothing. No completed items for Governor. Oh, it feels bad.
It's unfortunate. At what point do you just go, right, I'm going full tank Camille, guys.
I'm going to Maxi in lane. Well, I think he's Maxi anyway, but...
I'll go full tank, I'll just ult someone in the team, and then Gargoyle Stoneplate. That's my plan. Nah, I think you still have that scaling element. It's just Governor is in for a wild ride right now.
He's in for a rough one. He just needs to take the waves as they come to him.
Yeah, and Mummus, ever confident, did fall there in the end to Kevo, but he managed to die for it as well.
I will credit for Governor, because he's actually kept moderately even on experience.
Yeah.
He's not like hugely behind Mummus in experience, and a part of that is because he's frozen the lane and Mummus has had to go around sharing lane experience with everybody.
Yeah, it has sort of sacrificed, his team has had to sacrifice a lot of things for that. But in the end, it's not gone too bad. But now Governor going in pretty aggressive.
He has got the ultimate
there
as well. Mummus is going to pop his ultimate. How much time can they buy until that is over? They may have to just take him down here as the ultimate from Governor comes through. Mummus is really healing up. He will be popped, and now they'll just need to chase him down. Need to be careful. That's a lot. Oh no, he's just dead. I mean, I was going to say it's a lot of healing coming through, but he's just dead.
This is a power that Sejuani brought with a single target knockdown, but M&M aren't sleeping. They go aggressive mid. They find the rise, and Kevo has to be careful as well.
But he saves the tower. 1-for-1 here. They do get some pressure off top lane and pressure off Governor specifically.
Trading 1-for-1 ain't too bad when you're behind, but still feel like M&M have control of the map. And right now, Nolty going to head over to that Mountain Dragon, picking a second one up. Going to be pretty important here.
Nolty's had a really good game as well, actually. Something that we haven't really touched on. The guy is...
And on an early game jungler as well. I'm impressed. It's not Elise, but, you know, it's still a jungler you need to get going on early, and he's managed to not run it down, so credit to you, Nolty.
80% kill participation. This guy's been across the map as well as...
Especially when you consider the 2 kills he missed was that dive from Enclave.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really a way for him to be there. Other than that, he's, been part of every kill.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, credit to Chibs as well, so is he. So this mid-jungle, we talked about the mid-jungle of Enclave. Isaac's looking decent on the Sejuani apart from that dive, but Warzy definitely not finding his footing.
He's struggling. I mean, we talked about Governor, but Vorsi's the one that's now 0-4-2.
Yeah.
Governor's actually got more impact and less deaths, despite that early laning phase.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the teamfight situations, but
he is keeping things closer in terms of goals.
Purely statistical, I guess, but you know.
Yeah, that was some good statistical analysis. Let's analyze what's happening now. So you see that quite a few big items have been picked up. Stopwatches from both that Olaf and that, the Aatrox. So just say to me that M&M are going to make things happen soon. They have that double mountain, and I think if they get a good team fight, win an early Baron. But Nolty has to be a bit careful here. They are jumping on him.
Nolty by himself. Going to be forced to use the stopwatch as Galio comes through, but a nice dive away from that. This is actually a good fight for Bulldogs as it seems, but that's a huge engagement by Governor, and on the sidelines, Mummus comes through. He is super, super strong, does have that ultimate going, but Kavo is the guy that is in control on the backline. Can he deal with Mummus as that is Visek going down? That's going to be a taunt. No, Kavo's still going. He does get taunted up. The cleanse comes through. He's kiting away. There is the final hit. A double kill for Mummus, and that is a clean wipe onto Enclave. Pings are coming down for Baron here, and this could be M&M turning the knife.
It could, but I think it might be a bit of a mistake. It's short death timers, and yes, they have double mountain, but you don't have your jungler available. I mean, it looks like they're going to go for it, but...
It's 17 seconds for Visek to get online and then come back and try and steal this. Maybe Governor can do something about it with teleport.
I think Enclave should be running here. Governor's not coming. I feel like they started this so late. There's a ward there. It looks like they will get it. Okay, it looks like I was completely wrong. They will get it in time, but it could have been dicey.
Could have been. But Governor chose to go towards that bottom side of the map. Maybe they just didn't think Eminem had the cojones to go for it, but
no,
they
I
do.
think maybe they just thought... I felt like they were very lackadaisically walking over to it. I felt like, to me, that was a rush there straight away. But it seems like Eminem, with that double mountain, had the time to take it down fairly quickly. They get the teamfight win. They get the Baron. They're in a very good position right now, and that split push is going to become even harder to deal with because that Aatrox very strong, and now with the Baron buff as well.
Do you know what? I thought that fight around Dragon was actually going all right for Enclave, but actually Kavo is struggling to get the damage out, especially versus a Death Dance on the Aatrox, where that damage is being split out, the healing is so strong from him, and now he's working towards a GA. I mean, once that GA comes online, goodness gracious.
Well, that's the thing is that, like, I feel like Camille's great in split push, but I feel like in the team fights, Aatrox has the advantage because he has so much zone control and that ult. It's just so hard to do anything against him when he's running at you because even if you kill him, he's going to come back alive, and he has so much damage right now. And the crucial thing is Enclave look for a pick on the Olaf. The Olaf had stopwatch, and he's an Olaf. So what do you think the Olaf does? He's going to dodge away from the CC with his ult, and then he just popped the stopwatch and sport so much time. It just seemed like a doomed attempt from the start. I can understand why Enclave wanted to go for it, but they had great success picking Monk. Stick picking him, not the Olaf.
I mean, he's got Redemption and Gargoyle Stoneplate as well. I mean, this guy's just not going to die very easily whatsoever. And with
especially when you look at the team comp at Eminem, they have 3 teleports. You have the Kai'Sa and the Galio who can get there from semi-global range, I'll say. It's very hard to sort of make an engage happen and not have all of Eminem turn up.
The triple threat, the 1-3-1 now coming out from Eminem as they push every lane in for Enclave, and no lanes from Enclave are strong enough to respond to this right now, especially with their Baron push. Mumus just doing insane damage as Visek is threatening but not really converting any pressure on this bottom side of the map. Yeah,
absolutely. Looks like they will play things slow, waiting for the waves, but I think that's the way to do it. You still have to be careful. Monk got caught out before. You don't want that to happen again.
You see this bird's eye view right now, what's going on, and Mumus very happy to just let the cannon minion do the work. Here comes the Redemption in the mid lane. Mumus not going to actually commit right now because he's very close to getting that turret.
I mean, crucially, when Visek used his ult there, only caught Shogun, and all they used was Redemption to get away from that. So a pretty favorable situation. The minion's going to take down that bot tower, and the pressure's going to keep getting applied here. Monk is pulling the minions in, but now Enclave are torn. They want to defend that bot lane inhibitor, but they're going to have to defend mid as well.
And it's Mumus now trying to 1v2 on the sidelines. Here goes that push into the middle side of the map. Kavo actually doing some significant damage as the ultimate comes out. Baron minions are blocking it up, but Enclave are holding on to their base with dear life. 10,000 gold, almost the disadvantage right now for Enclave, but they are doing their best to keep things level pegging.
Yeah, absolutely. Chib's not able to get too much pressure in the top lane against Arise, but Mumus doing so much here bot, and the next wave coming mid, this is when things really start to get dicey. Chib's moving over, they're going to look for the engage.
Oh, Kavo there got touched just a little bit, but it is going to be the inhibitor turret going down. There should be 2 inhibitors in favor of Eminem, and this really opens up the floodgates. The floodgates for Eminem to potentially take this win. And remember, if Eminem take this win, they put themselves a mile ahead of Enclave in terms of points this week, and that may be too much for Enclave to be able to claim back from.
Yeah, especially because Eminem are the ones favored here. They already have that 8 points. Enclave are the ones on 3. Enclave needed to make things happen this week if they wanted to realistically get to playoffs. So them going down here could be disastrous, but it's not over yet. I know it's easy to say that, but if you look at the composition of Enclave, if they find an opportunity where Eminem oversteps, they try and dive too deep, they kite back effectively, there is still a scenario where Enclave wins the team fight, which is why I expect Eminem are going to play a slow game from here. They have the triple mountain, they have the super minions pushing in bottom mid. If I was them, I'd just play it slow, get the Baron, and then use that to get it. You don't need to overforce, because that's where they could lose this one.
Governor finally has his Triforce at 26 minutes into the game. With the
better late than never.
The inhibitor timer is coming up, and you can see Baron spawning in 1 minute 30. There is a 3-minute discrepancy between the bot lane inhibitor and the mid lane inhibitor, which just means you have 3 minutes of free pressure for Eminem to wait it out and go for the next Baron. And that really will be the nail in the coffin for the Enclave roster.
Yeah, so you're torn in a difficult situation. Do you try and steal the Baron, which by all means Eminem should stop from happening, but you might find the opportunity, maybe with like a Miracle Realm Warp to get Visek there? Or do you just try and defend your base and hope that Eminem overstep, but essentially just forfeit that Baron when it spawns?
I mean, Kavo is still slightly ahead in terms of itemization. He's gone for the Phantom Dancer, now working towards what I imagine will be the Infinity Edge. That's an ultimate.
They
found him onto the backline, but it's a great ultimate from Monk. Wham, bam, slam from M&M as they take through Enclave. Kavo jumps over the wall, but Shogun is now going to kite him out. This actually is fairly even as the Governor now is forced back. Vorsi as well. It's a 1-for-3 situation right now as Vorsi trying to kite backwards versus Mummus. This isn't
Kevo's
actually
flanking.
over. Kevo is really healthy as Chibs now forces into that Zhonya's. He's on the back line, gets knocked up. There's the taunt as well. Kevo does get the kill. He's shut down. He's still going for the moment as Governor can go through with Vorsi. What is going on right now? Enclave is turning it around. Vorsi and Governor. I cannot believe what I have just seen.
Oh, and they're going to have to defend the base, but that was the one play Enclave could get to get back in this game. And we talked about it. We said M&M need to overstep. They need to find the miracle play, and they did. Visek with the blind Sejuani ult. There were 3 people walking past that, and he perfectly timed it to find Monk. They don't instantly kill Monk, but Kevo cleans up off the back, and then this Lucian is so strong. It was their way back in the game, and now M&M are going for a desperation Baron. I mean, I think it's pretty safe.
It's a sneaky Baron.
Because they don't know what's up. Right now, Enclave are defending the base, but they get it. It's secure. It's fine. But still, the fact that Enclave were able to find that team fight, get a ton of shutdown gold, it really is scary. And once again, Monk is the one who is potentially even costing his team the game. How can you
predict that? I guess. I mean, maybe QSS is on the cards for Monk at some point soon.
Don't walk that way.
Yeah, I suppose that you are putting yourself in an awkward position. But
communicate with your teammates. Say, Shogun, walk in front of me.
Yeah. That was a pinpoint blind Visek ultimate over the wall. That was incredible for him. And actually, props to Kavo in that fight. Aggressive, flashes after Monk, chases down Shogun in the middle of that fight, still relevant.
But this is the issue where when we get later on, Monk is the big late game carry. The rest of the team, if they get locked down by the CC from Enclave, and when we saw how much damage Warzy started to put out, and Kevo as well, if they go through the targets on M&M one at a time, lock them down, they can team fight very well. Crucially, it's hard to flank a team when they're in their own base. So M&M have got this Baron, they are pushing up top, but they have to be really careful because another lost team fight like that might mean things turn around in a big way.
They're using that 1-3-1 again. They're using the advantage of their split pushes, the double teleport that they have, as well as the Baron minions to push through onto every single lane at this point in time. Vorsi now trying his best, but Visek, I mean, if Visek can find these kind of engages, this is great for Enclave. It does feel like you need more of those miracle plays, and I don't know how many miracles you're going to be gifted in a single game. As another turret falls now, Mummus and Chibs on the sideline. What can Enclave do here? Can they find a big Sejuani ultimate engage? That's the question.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire. Enclave are looking for the opportunities. The last inhibitor's up and they go for the engage.
Oh, Shogun's there on the front line. He's going to go down very low as Vorsi now as well. Kavo on the front line getting melted. Visek also very, very low, but it's Vorsi and Kavo doing what they can, but they just don't have the damage. Mummus comes through. Galio ultimate is there. That's a nice dodge by Governor, but it really is to no avail. Monk cleaning up. Governor going to go down at the end, and Mummus and the rest of the squad will pick up a win for M&M. It's really been told since the very start of this game.
Yeah, and that is the difference between an engage onto Monk and an engage on the Shogun. Shogun takes all the CC and the damage. They don't even manage to kill him, and they will close things out fairly swiftly after that team fight.
Woo, that was a roller coaster, like we said.
Yeah,
literally a roller coaster.
Right.
I mean, it was mostly upwards for M&M, where there was a little dip when we got to that Enclave fight right towards the end. But M&M very, I would say, handily take that win.
That would be a very boring roller coaster to ride on. If you just went up, then went down a tiny bit, and then just up, and then that's it.
M&M did have the advantage from the get-go. I hate to say and point fingers to a single play. I don't think it was completely lost with that tower dive top, but you could see how much impact Mummus had across the map, following that.
The problem was, from then on, they just had to sacrifice so much to get Governor back in the game, and he never really got back in the game. And it just felt like Mummus had so much more presence, and then it was what M&M did with that. And even when I've seen times where M&M have questionable drafts, like against Phelan, their map movements are still pretty good, so you give them an advantage and they will run away with it, and that's what they did here. So credit to them, coming out strong. And you know, my prediction was 60-40 M&M. I think I was right.
I'm more in line with Twitch chat's prediction here. That was like proper 70-80 plus for Eminem that game. It really didn't look that close.
My prediction was right, therefore I am right.
Of course. Just waiting on the MVP for that game, by the way.
Who would it be for you?
Who would be for me? I want to say, obviously, Mummus because of that play in the top lane, but I genuinely think I would probably give it to Nulty, just because he was so impactful across the map, in total.
Not Monk is...
Who would you give it to? Mummus or Nulty, but then...
Yeah, I'd say probably Nulty, because I think Mummus made that great play, but they sort of, everything came from that, and that was more... Governor and Wisek making a bad play. He played it well. Credit to him, absolutely. And he played the rest of the game out well, but I think Nulty just had so much presence on the map and really geared the team to victory. But it doesn't matter what we think, because our behind-the-scenes production will decide who the MVP is, and we will find out shortly.
I'm not going to jump the gun too soon, because I don't want to do like a break scenario where
we're just
starting
that
MVP and then I start dancing randomly and then nothing happens. No, I'm not going to do that. So I'm waiting for confirmation on who that is. But I agree. I think because I almost think like Nulty was very understated that game. You didn't really see what he did, but he did a lot. I mean, he secured objectives. He probably was the one driving those forces when it came to getting those early dragons. The three mountain dragons just gave them that ability to just duo Drake.
Mountain dragons are pretty good.
And mountain dragons are pretty solid.
They're pretty good to have.
I would almost argue it's maybe strongest Drake in the game right now.
I think since the changes, because it used to be like the first mountain dragon used to be 10%, and then they made it 16%. And then, for example, Infernal went from like 8 to 10. So it was a tiny increase. But the first mountain is so much different. And the one downside to a mountain dragon is if you don't get on those objectives, it's pretty useless.
Yeah.
But when you want to do them, it just makes it so much faster.
So the odds are on that Eminem are likely going to pick up either XL or Fnatic just based on 66% chance of getting one of those two draws, right? They can get one of three.
Assuming they get through.
Yeah, okay. Assuming I'm making like forward predictions based on what we assume is going to happen.
Well, either they get XL Fnatic or teams that beat XL and Fnatic.
Yes, true. Yeah, okay.
So,
but let's say for prediction's sake, as most people are predicting that XL and Fnatic go through in these next two rounds, they get those two. Do you think that this Eminem is going to be good enough to beat XL and Fnatic comfortably?
Well, based on how Fnatic and XL have been playing last week, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we do have the MVP, and it is going to be Mummus that game, 737 on the Aatrox. And it really was off that spring of the play that he made in the top lane where the double kill came through early on. But he capitalized so well.
Yeah, he did.
He turned that into an advantage in the side lane. He really put the pressure on the Governor. And when Governor was left freezing the lane, he rotated and he made things happen.
I think, it's definitely a big unsung hero. May well be Nulty. You can vote for that. It will be available later today on our Twitter, LVP UK. But yeah, Mummus deserves it. I think we were sort of playing devil's advocate, being like, who else? But,
most of us were thinking that Mummus would get the MVP.
Yeah, that was the obvious choice for good reason. He played it pretty well. Pretty solid Aatrox.
So we're going to be going shortly into a break. Next is going to be up XL taking on Barrage. So don't go anywhere, because XL have not looked hot over the last 2 weeks, and Barrage are a team that can definitely force an upset. We are going to be going to a short break. See you soon.
event.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. I've switched out of Excalibur. My name is Jake Hitbrain Matthews, but we are still joined by Dan Orcs Harrison as we'll be bringing you our third game of the day, which will be Barrage taking on XL.
Yeah, so it should be a good one. Again, start the split. You asked me who this is favored to. I would say XL right now.
If we go off the last 2 weeks, XL have not made it out of the round of 8 once.
Yeah.
But Barrage have made it out twice now.
And if my 2 is more than 0.
Yes.
So I would, yeah, it favors Barrage.
But if we're going to look at the base numbers, XL are still ahead of Barrage.
Yeah, they had that great week 1.
Yeah, they had the great week 1. They sat on top of the tower. They are sitting third, tied with M&M at the moment. They're just in M&M get out, which means if they don't win versus Barrage here, M&M actually overtake them, shove them down to 4th, and then XL find themselves in a
dicey situation.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
There's a bit of heat off them because Enclave are the closest after that, and because they got knocked out, they're not going to be right on the tails. But still, it's not a good situation to be in for XL if they drop this game. So, I mean, it's just kind of unbelievable to say that, like, okay, we bring down 2 NEC players, bring Kasing, bring Exile, still lose.
I mean, Kasing basically just walked in the door like, hey guys, and just fell flat on his face. It was,
what frustrates me is that they played it so well. He played so well in the support role for like the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then they just threw it away.
Well, that's the question. Yeah, what is going wrong here for XL? To be honest, what is going right for Barrage? Because they've been playing really well for the last 2 weeks.
Barrage have had some good moments and bad moments against Enclave. They did suffer a defeat, but I think they sort of have really solid mid lane in Kremel. I think Artorias has been willing to pick some sort of fancy matchups. And a lot of people said at the start of the split, you know, bot lane and Barrage might be a weak point, but Jackamak and Barciona have really stepped up. And then this side of XL, it's like the early game is still strong. And then they just throw. They just make questionable decisions. They don't set up properly. They get overconfident, look for fights they don't need, which I'm not going to pin on any person in particular because you don't know. But it seems like the roster have been overconfident. And they're like, oh, we can crush these guys easy. Look how far ahead we are. There's no way we lose this, which is the famous last words, you know?
And I think if you look at a team like Barrage, you know, they whipped Riven out. They've been styling on people.
Riven's pretty good right now as well.
Riven is very good right now, so maybe something we see get banned in the picks and bans?
Potentially, especially if you put yourself in a position where Sendo doesn't necessarily have a good matchup. And he is someone who's been known to die in lane more than a player of his caliber should. So, maybe not the first rotation, but for now we will see Yasuo ban actually come out. And of course you do have the old overlay still. Hopefully that'll get changed up in a second. It is Barrage against XL.
Yeah. Got the wrong teams at the top of the screen, but don't worry about that. We've Yasuo and Lucian have been banned away so far as we get to come back to us.
Okay, what are you going to pick next?
Yeah, come on. What do you think?
Maybe like... It's really hard to predict on this side. Because blue, you can just sort of ban whatever. Maybe they could focus support. They could get rid of the Galio or the Thresh.
LeBlanc.
Actually, LeBlanc...
I was going to say it, but I didn't want to... I didn't want to make Ulix City, right?
Oh, no, you were talking about Barrage. I was talking about XL banning the Galio. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we were both right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we're so smart. Go us.
Look at us.
Yeah. And then they do take away the Jarvan.
Which you predicted.
Yep.
You know, this is a smart noggin in there.
That's what I'm here for. Yeah. And then the Nico, again, this champion is just permaban on red side. No one wants to play against that.
No, but it does leave the Zoe open. That means Camille's going to get his hands on that.
Oh, I would love it. No, don't bait me, please. No, we shouldn't talk about hovers, but can you imagine? Can you imagine?
That is how to start. And to be fair, has an okay matchup into Zoe.
And it got buffed recently.
And
it's Exile who is the sort of player who would pick it.
I mean, they're 0-2 in the last 2 weeks. I feel like they're going to want to go safe. They go safe. They take the Rise.
I mean, his Rise is good, but come on. I would have loved that. I would have paid to see that.
It would have some serious style points if he whipped it out. But he's not. For the moment, we're just going to see Tax also get his hands on that at least.
That is a strong 2v2 mid. It's like you root with the Rise, and then you cocoon. And it should always land. So if you're first picking the Zoe is someone who struggles because she is immobile, especially before she gets to ult. But even at ult, you know, you go, and then you go back. So if you get locked down by that Rise Elise, not going to have a fun time.
Yeah, he's going to have to take cleanse. I mean, if you don't take cleanse in this matchup as Camille, that's just straight up disrespect. And
I'd go as far as say inting, but Braum will actually get taken from the side of Barrage now, given that pick over to Bartiono. Question will be, do they want to prioritize an AD carry here, or potentially go for a jungler? But do you see Scudsy liking the Sejuani has good synergy, but it might be a bit early to pick that now. Interesting look, because we did see Skarner have some changes, I believe, on this patch. Better Spire location, but they are going for that Nocturne. So not wanting to match the Lisa's early levels and just saying, look, do what you want. Level 6, I'm going to be better than you.
I'm curious to see what XL pick up here. Did they go for a support or AD? And then look, just to kind of take away a bunch of the if they take an AD, they can just ban out all the remaining strong ADs, or they can just take a nice support for themselves and try and look to go into the next phase on equal footing.
Yeah, personally, I'd be on I think in a Braum, you're not pressured too much to pick support, so I guess I'm going to go to Tom Kench and prove me wrong. I would have personally gone for a stronger AD carry for Inax, but I guess when I know more about the lane matchup, Tom Kench gives them a lot of safety, and if you look at XL's composition right now, that's a lot of map pressure.
I mean, though, you do look at Tom Kench. 1 pick, 1 loss here in the UKLC, so not the greatest start to the year here, but is in the hands of Kasing, you know, a player who we're very confident in being able to pilot a champion like this.
Absolutely, and it's just that combined with the Rise means you have so much map pressure. You can easily just be anywhere with a large number of members, but it's going to come down to them to play it correctly to get to that point. They're going to ban out the Jace from Artorias, so that suggests to me that they might delay the 80 carry pick even further, or potentially, I mean, I don't know, they might go for the counter pick top. I would personally go for the counter
It's really
pick top.
hard to concentrate on picks and bans when through the glass I can see Scoundrel giving a massage to our producer. They've got it real easy over there.
Yeah, well,
You know, we're doing
we
the
can
hard
get.
work out here, grinding away.
well, the top lane ban's coming out again, so Yorick going to get taken away. You could potentially, I mean, they could take away the Riven if they're really concerned about it. You know, they just don't want that extra split.
I feel
potential.
like you want.
I feel like
it's
if I was
really risky
XL
to blind pick it.
If I was
here.
XL, I would take the counter pick and I would go for a good matchup top for Sendo. I'd go for the split push. And then you have a really solid 1-3-1 with the Rise because Zoe's not the best in the side lanes. It's going to be interesting to see what Barrage have as an answer to that. Because if you fall apart in the 1-3-1, you're going to struggle. But at the same time, you know, you have the potential to have a pretty solid comp with good pressure on Baron because Elise isn't really the best. If she falls behind, she's not the best to go face checking at things. You can't just fire a skill shot, and sure, she has a repel, but she can just go up and then down if there's nothing to go to.
Well, Fiora's the final ban now.
Yep, so concerned about the split push focusing back. Camille's still open, and that's something that Sendo is happy to play. There is things like the Aatrox and the Renekton he wants to play.
Ooh, that's the
and
Renekton.
He's bringing the confident matchup, so they're going for the better lane matchup bot lane. They'll bring out the Renekton, and now it's up to Artorias what he wants to pick as an answer. I think Aatrox, it's a skill matchup. Riven, it's favored towards Renekton traditionally, but I think Riven's so strong right now in this patch. If you're good with it, I think you could actually beat
Conqueror
the
is
Renekton.
very easy to use on both of them, right?
I
Like,
think
there's
with
so
the
much
win
potential.
rate of Riven has skyrocketed, but I think it's a bit too risky. They go for the Aatrox, so that's going to be a very heated matchup and could go either way. Interesting enough, both these champions have been sort of played a bit, but not too much on the on 9.4, but on 9.5. On the later end of 9.4, they've been picked so much more recently, and it's going to be a heated top matchup. Comes down to how much a jungler can sort of impact that, and the question for me is going to be, what can a Nocturne really do pre-6, which is not much.
Okay, well, Barrage round it out with a safer pick in the top lane by taking the Aatrox, and will set himself a pretty safe blind AD with that Sivir. 50% win rate here in the UKLC at the moment. Looking to see what XL are looking to close out the picks and bans with.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options, but you could pick something just to win lane, but you have a Tom Kent, so I'm not sure how much it's going to do. I'd want something with decent wave clear, and Jinx has decent wave clear, but still a very wild pick to go for.
Struggles early as well with that wave clear.
Yeah,
Costs
I
a lot
think-
of mana to use the rockets, and Sivir can just shove a lot safer.
The big question is later on, though, if you're going for that 1-3-1 with the Rise, the Jinx can just sit mid and clear the waves. But also, crucially, you outrange the Sivir so hard. The Sivir has to find windows to get close to you. You have to have that Ricochet auto reset before you get close to the Jinx, or you're just going to drop. And the thing is, they have the protection from the Tahm Kench, but they need their solo lanes to get ahead early if they're going to facilitate this Jinx. Whereas on the other side, it just feels like Barrage are going to have a much easier comp to execute. You press R, you run at them.
Yeah, just the one key and go comp here by Barrage, but you know, we are looking at XL. While yes, their comp is probably a little bit harder to execute. This is a team who, you know, they should be able to execute it, especially into a team like Barrage. You know, coming into the beginning of the season, we kind of placed this fairly low in the rankings. They still currently are fairly low in the rankings, but if trends continue from what we've seen for the last few weeks, Barrage could actually climb up that ladder higher and just with consistency try and beat out someone like XL.
Absolutely, and I like that they're picking a composition that isn't too smart. Not in terms of it's smart to play it, but just the fact that you don't need to be a rocket science to play a Sivir comp. So just play a Sivir Nocturne comp where you just press your R's, you go in, you find the picks, and it's not putting a huge burden on executing a difficult split push, because I feel like XL definitely have win conditions. Their split push is going to be threatening. They have the Jinx, who's potentially going to be very strong late game. But if things start to fall apart, it could get very dicey. Whereas I feel like Barrage have put themselves in a position where their win condition is pretty simple.
Yeah. So talking about the earlier stages of the game, what are we looking for? What are we expecting here?
I think it comes down to how much Taxa can impact the map. Because Taxa's got this Elise. You don't pick Elise for her level 18 power scape. It's a level 3, and it's the fact that she has all those abilities early. I want to see him make an impact on the map. Mid's pretty good because it's easy to set up, but at the same time they have cleanse. Top lane is pretty solid as well. Renekton just dashes in stuns. It's a long lane. It's very easy for the Elise to get in. So by all means, I think he should put his pressure on the top side of the map. And bot lane, I think Kasing and Inax just want to farm.
Okay, Orcs. The studio's not new. We've been here for 5 weeks now.
Long time.
But I'm curious, what's your favorite part about the studio? What's like your favorite like knick-knack we've got lying around? Because we've got quite a few things. Hopefully we can bring this stuff up on the other camera and we can have a little look around, see if there's anything we like.
I'd probably say the Poros.
The Poros. There's quite a few of them. We got this
I
chap
like this
over here.
one. I
There's-
like just.
There's two over there. There's a King Poro over there.
I like
as
the
well.
King Poro as well. I feel like we should put them together sometime because you know they have a good time. But I just like sometimes just grab them, give them a little.
Just
little
play with the
squeeze.
sound.
Hello.
I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, I like the lava
Right?
lamp, by the way. I'm a big fan of the lava lamp.
I hope you don't do that to lava.
No, that would burn.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God. Right, let's have a little look at our rosters coming into this game. Barrage with Victorious in the top lane. Scudsy is the jungler, but Wiz kind of XL. Sendo, Taxa, XL, Inax, and Mystiques. That's Kasing.
That isn't Kasing, that's Mystiques, but they have Kasing.
Yeah. Right, we're in the game.
Bit of an oopsie days on the roster rundown, but you know, at the end of the day, this is what we're here to see, the game.
What do you think a Poro tastes like? Like, as,
I
if
think
you
you're
cook it.
sick. I think you're sick that you'd ask that. That's
I feel like
they're
it'd
not to be eaten.
For me, it'd be a little bit like deer. I don't know why. Actually, they wouldn't be like deer because they're probably quite fatty, actually. They're probably more like pork or something.
I'm concerned that this is the thing you should think about.
Someone's got to ask these questions.
So like,
I'm sure someone has asked this question.
if you were in the world of League of Legends with all this wonder and mystery, you'd be like, I wonder what Poro tastes like. I'm gonna eat one.
Oh, you got to eat, otherwise you can't continue to seal the wonder and mystery.
Yes, if only there was a way of life where we didn't have to eat meat.
Look, me and you have been out for Nando's pretty much every week after the show. You can't say that to me.
You're not wrong. But I wouldn't eat a Poro.
I feel like it'd be like one of those things you try once, right? You know, you go to another country, you experience the delicacy, you eat some of their, their food.
Some, but some.
Have you
well,
never gone to another country and just eaten something
Yeah,
a little bit
but
wild?
some of them I'm a bit like, not too keen on that.
Well, yeah, it's not like I'd go and eat bugs, right? Some places, you can go. The witch tea grubs in Australia and stuff like that.
Yeah, why not? Decent meal.
Not gonna follow up on that.
No, I feel like we're getting into dangerous territory here, so I'll just stop now.
What food? Making me hungry.
Yeah. And we have a whole 2 games to go through before we can get on Nando's.
See, this is the thing I miss about, our studio being in Barcelona for last season. Was that hot dog shop we would go to with Celtic Tiger.
Yeah, but we couldn't
And
get
we would eat like 6 hot dogs each. It was
So
great.
you're saying you miss hot dogs from Celtic Tiger? I missed that.
It was fun.
I miss Celtic Tiger.
But I don't miss you because I've got you here. So I don't have to, I'm not missing everything.
Okay, that's
We've
fair.
also got a Scoundrel.
We do get cheeky Nando's, so.
Yeah.
You know.
We have our dates. Right, let's take a little look at the game.
Oh, yeah, I always forget there's a League of Legends game
Yeah,
going on.
stuff's going on. Action's breaking out. Taurus in this top lane, having a little bit of a push early into Sendo's Exile. Camille, the trades have been pretty equal, sorry.
Pretty evil.
Ugh.
Yeah, and it looks like Inax and Kasing getting this shove here, so pretty good pressure from them, to be honest. I think in the early levels, I mean, I guess Sivir doesn't have the mana really to expend, but I think that's just showing the veteran status of this Tom Kench and Jinx, because Sivir's got pretty good shove, and the fact that Jackamak has had a mana and Inax isn't, and he has a shove, is a pretty good sign.
Yeah, it's a good start for them here. As level 3's now been hit on Taxa, so it's that power spike you were talking about on the Elise. You can see Taurus is pushing, and that's exactly where Taxa is, so he might try and see if he can make something happen, but there is a ward in that tri-bush, and it looks like that information has been communicated here. So Taxa doing a lane gank on the Elise.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's easy to execute. The flash, oh no, it's a repel comes in, but it is actually off screen, but you saw Taxa jump forwards on the minimap, so used that repel, but wasn't able to find anything on Artorias. Bit of wasted time, so good moves from him to back away and not get caught here, but pressure definitely over to Kasing and Inax in the spot lane, especially since to me, Jinx, Tom Kenji is in a lane, you think, oh wow, look at all the pressure they have.
Yeah. But
Does have good trading because that Jinx outranges the Sivir, but even so.
it's when it gets really rough into Renekton when he has all that healing on his Q, and if he's got Conqueror stacked up as well, it's even more bonus healing.
Yeah, he stacks it pretty fast as well. That's
Well,
the thing,
the
I feel like.
gives free auto attacks, so that's free stacks.
Yeah, I feel like the Aatrox stacks it a bit slower. Has a longer burn. Sendo's beating a bit here, but I don't think Artorias is going to fall for it.
I've always said Aatrox is basically just a slow version of
Oh,
Riven,
but
that's
he
going to
is.
be the Cocoon. He's fallen for it in first blood. Picked up for Sendo.
Yeah, so Sendo walked towards the river, and Artorias thought, it's okay, he's not in the lane, I'm safe. But he does go down to the double gang, and actually, I think they're going for a return. Elise is very fatal in these dives. They're going to wait for the TP to come in, and Exile's actually walked over as well. So Artorias holds his TP. He won't get ganked again, but he loses so much gold on that wave.
Oh, that's big as well. Jakamaka doesn't actually get spell shield procs, it doesn't get the mana back. Which is nice for him for the moment.
It's little victories. That's what you live for.
Well, these little things add up, you know. To get yourself a CS lead, a couple of minions, can grow into a 10 minion CS lead,
Exile's
then can grow into a 20 minute.
freezing the lane here before he goes for his recall, but Kramel's cancelled his, and I think he's just going to look to shove this. And actually, Scudzy's nearby. Just a little bit of a back and forth. A CS lead actually coming over to Kramel, so putting the advantages in the early levels in this lane. But hasn't been pressured by Taxis at all. We said that might be a concern, but Taxis level 4. Still got a lot of time to make use of this power of the Elise in the early game, but so far 1 kill. Not bad. We would like to see more.
You can see Barrage trying to push in this bot lane. We're trying to remain control of the bot lane as the CS lead is still equal here. Sin and Inax doing a good job to hold out in a lane which, you know, should have started with a push. Can see that they've been able to catch back up on the CS deficit they did have at the beginning of the game, so at least going equal here for the moment. But ooh, Taxa gonna go up.
I think that's
might drop down.
Oh,
doesn't the Spiderling actually takes it here? Notorious is making his way in, but Scudzy, no R available. Now Sendo slices and dices in. He gets himself the stun on. That's gonna be the flash into the Cocoon.
Oh,
Taxa's made it happen, and Notorious goes down once again.
Don't flash in a straight line. That's the crucial rule you learn in League of Legends. Artorias falls prey to it and gets picked off. And it was at the start of a play that actually looked pretty good for Barrage, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble just doesn't connect onto the Elise, and crucially, Krumel with no mana wasn't able to offer any more support. Excel finding these advantages in the top side.
You can see Exile's just having a look around the jungle, knowing that they were able to get a kill onto Artorias, knowing that the bit of pressure in favor of them. Just
Well, I think the crucial thing is the fact that Krumel had no mana and had to recoil, and Exile TP'd back in, so he's going to have the time to set things up just before Krumel gets back to lane. But now Sendo looking to kind of freeze the lane here because Artorias is still level 5, no flash. Whoa.
it's a little harder to freeze when you have a Tiamat.
It's very hard to hold this lane, though, when you have the level 7 Renekton against... He has his level 6 finally. But still, it's not a good position to be in. Taxa, once again, is walking into this brush. He's looking for the gank.
This is how you play Elise. Pick a lane and you camp it.
Sing playing with fire here, but he seems fairly confident. And now,
Oh, they got the
comes
Realm
in,
Warp on. Notorious is forced to use World Ender.
but he just get away. So fair play to him. Looks like Barrage will go for that turret on the bottom side, and XL just going to get some turret plating, which isn't bad by no means. But considering they committed 3 members there, you'd hope to get that kill as well.
Does mean Notorious is playing with no defensive utility under his belt, as he's now got no World Ender. His flash is still down. He has Umbral Dash as his only way to escape, and that's a tiny dash.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that plate in the bot lane didn't even go down. They barely scratched the surface. And Kasing flashes in and gobbles up Bartiono. Inax is going to try and take himself the kill here. Now would they get excited? They are coming in, but that's going to be the ultimate turnaround. The kill's been picked up by Jakamaka. He holds out fast, and Kasing goes down. Scudzy gets him as well, and 2 for 1 in the bot lane.
Crucially, the Nocturnal came in, and it was a good start of the play for Minax and Kasing, but they overcommitted onto the Sivir. Jakamaka had the Braum passive still available for him onto Inax, and as soon as he started to stack that up, it was easy for Scudzy to come in. And they managed to turn around when It initially looked a bit dicey for the side of Raj.
Yeah, what an engaged Biker Singh, but such a good turnaround. That paranoia coming up.
They just
absolutely
overstepped.
massive.
And
Taxa,
crucially, Inax cancelled an auto there.
I mean, he's spotted on a ward here, but Notorious just doesn't
No
really have
ult.
anything he can do. No ult, no flash, and it looks like that's going to be the ulti thrown down by Sendo. He can look to stun him up, and he's going to do so. The Cocoon is in, the damage is on, and that is going to be a clean kill for Sendo.
Don't even need to use Elise Repel for the dive. Artorias is not having fun this game. They can't get the tower quite yet, but in this next wave, they should just be able to push it in if they want to.
Well, Bubble does connect. That's actually going to be a nice chunk of damage onto Exile. But Inax actually taking some serious damage from those ricochets.
They're overconfidence, and I think one of the things with Jinx is that Jinx does outrange the Sivir pretty heavily. But when Sivir has the auto reset on the Ricochet and the Boomerang Blade, you can actually put a lot of burst damage into that Jinx. So Inax has to be careful if he gets too close. So I don't think it's a massive issue now, but late game when those crits are doing like 600 damage, if you double auto with the auto Ricochet, you can almost one-hit a squishy character. So
let's talk CS. Let's talk items here. Sendo 0-3, down 40 CS to Sendo.
Artorias,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sendo is 2-0-1. He's got a Tiamat, he's got the BF sword, he's building towards that Spear Sojin.
yeah, which is going to be a huge power spike for the Nectin. Means he can just essentially press ult, go in, and destroy Artorias. He has to respect this lane matchup so much now, and very different from the Aatrox we saw last game, who got massively ahead. This one's massively behind.
Tax is definitely the reason that's happened as well. He's put so much pressure onto this top lane, unlocking Excel's split push top laner. You've also got the Ryze, who's also very good at split pushing, and Sendo gets pulled back by the Infernal Chain, so he's not going to go down here.
Does get the tower though, and that's what they came for. Pushes them into a pretty heavy 2k gold lead. Game definitely not over yet, and I gotta be looking at, you know, Jackamak and Cromel later on. They're on pretty solid carries. The scaling's not super great on a Zoe, but you can still always one-shot someone later on. But this Sivir, we know, can be a monster in the late game. So it's just about finding the opportunities.
Oh, that's the paranoia. Thrown
Looks like
down
it's
to
coming
go
in
into the bot lane. Already, both of the double Goldens have gone out. That's going to be a flash away, and Inax will get swallowed up here by Kasing, but he's going to fall down as well. Bartiono gets out scot-free and execute onto Jackamaka, and Bartiono walks away with a sliver of hay.
Just a perfectly executed dive. I mean, I say perfect. The slight mistake was the fact that Jackamaka died, but crucially, Bartiono blocked the damage onto him, so it ended up being an execute. They get both kills, they get the tower, and they don't give anything away, not even the gold from that Sivir. So great play coming out from Barrage, and they are putting the pressure on this bot lane.
Rift Herald's already been thrown down here. They knew that Zoe was in that bot lane. They're going to be able to try and get some serious plate damage out here, as the minions are either going to tank up a few shots for the Rift Herald. I don't think this will be the turret, it's Bartiono's
No, Bartiono's here. The plating's a bit too tanky for now.
Although, good unbreakable.
So a lot of damage, a lot of plating. Keeps XL on a gold lead, but they did lose that tower and all its plates on the bot side. So right now, bot lane and Barrage looking great, but look at that Spear of Sojin being finished by Sendo. That is not a 1v1 matchup you'd be happy to be in for Artorias.
Well, he's got the Tiamat as well, and it's only 12 minutes in. This is a little rough here for Artorias. He's just got that Kindle Gem and the Ninja Tabbies, but I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to block. If we do look at the EADs, they're pretty much equal here on items. BS, pickaxe, and
Sivir
Grievous.
is just backing out. I think she's going to have a bit of a gold advantage because of the extra money from that tower. So it does pick up a whole Brawler's Glove, but does that
And a
does mean,
dagger.
yeah, so about 700 gold ahead of the Jinx, which isn't much, but it's what you want to see from the side of Barrage.
Sendo could be on the receiving end of a gank here. 4 members, throws down that ultimate, holds out with a stun, but he's already been caught out, and he goes down. Artorias is just getting the shutdown.
And that was just great execution from Scudzy. It's exactly what you want to see. The strongest person on the map was that Crocodile, and now he has a pair of Crocodile shoes. And 500 gold bounty, pretty big to go over to Artorias there.
And Scudzy's doing a great job of controlling dragons here as well. When that first turret blood went down, he picked up the Ocean Drake. Now he can pick up the Mountain Drake. We've seen 2 times in a row today how impactful Mountain Drakes can be for taking these Barons later on in the game. When you've got a Sivir, you're going to rip through these Barons.
Yeah, and the crucial thing with a Sivir as well is it's so easy to turn off the Baron. I mean, you press R, and if anyone's within a reasonable range, you can just run them down and take them out. I mean, the thing is, like, especially Tom Kench doesn't offer much disengage at all. No one really, apart from the Jinx with the traps, offers much disengage. Because the thing is, yes, Tom Kench can eat you, but if they can run him down as well, there's not really any saving grace there. Do get a look at the gold numbers there, and we can see gap's been closed a bit from that shutdown in the top lane, but still massively different. But across the board otherwise, Barrage are pulling ahead. The only sort of discrepancy is that mid lane, but still very even.
You can see that's come from Exile's. You know, he's been roaming, but he's still been able to, like, pick up CS. He's still been able to control his wave just because of how good Ryze can be at wave clear.
Yeah, and I mean, Cromel has made things happen.
Cromel might actually be able to get some serious damage, Exile. Not enough to actually kill him, though.
But still chunks him up pretty heavily. You never know with Zoe, because a lot of champions are like, nah, I won't kill him. But with Zoe, you never completely sure. Artorias is going to try and defend here, but with no World Ender, I think he might just have to give this one up.
Yeah, attacks it. Throws that Spiderling. Takes a bit of aggro as Taurus.
Scudzy's here, though. Could be a bait.
Paranoia's on. Infernal Chains connect onto Taxa. They're still just working away at the tower, working away at the minions.
World Ender and Paranoia. Paranoia just came up now. World Ender got about 5 seconds to go. You really want that before you go for a fight. They've got to expect that Scudzy's here. There's no way Artorias would be this aggressive without him.
Infernal Chains are on. The Cocoon's down, and Artorias just gets picked up.
World Ender came up, but he didn't have time to use it, and just over-aggressive there. The CC lands. Good execute from XL. And because Scudsy came down bot, it means that Barrage weren't able to get anything mid off that play. So, bit of an oopsie-daisy from the side of Barrage. And now, XL moving towards that mid lane. They want to make something happen.
Yeah, they're looking for the collapse here onto Giacomacca and Bartiono, but staying
Paranoia's
on the
still
other
up.
side of the tower, and they still got Paranoia, like you said, so it can quickly turn into 3 members of Barrage jumping on you and bursting you. So, XL do step away for the moment. We can look at Cromel, has got that paddle star, looking to get some damage out, but do get out of range.
But they're going to get this tower in the bot lane. The pressure's not there. And
Poor Artorias, he's been in a 1v2 this whole game, but looks like actually he's
Clap's
trying to make
coming
this
in.
a 4v2, make it a 5v2. The bubble's going to connect. They have no ultimate by Giacomacca, but they just throw everything onto the Crocodile. And Giacomacca is going to pick up the kill.
got to ask at what cost, though. They already lost that tower bot. Might well lose this one mid, and Exile putting pressure on the top lane. They make the kill onto Artorias, but they're starting to lose a lot across the map.
I think they just used 3 ultis to get that.
I mean, using ultis is fine, you know, because they come back. You know what doesn't come back? Towers. And they just lost one on the mid. A bit of damage in the top lane, so XL pulling ahead here and still 3k gold up.
Have to see how impactful Artorias' World Ender being on cooldown now will be. Because it's still fairly lengthy. He wasn't able to hit level 11 before that. So, it's a little bit behind. A second BF sword has been picked up onto Sendo as he works his way towards the GA.
Yeah, gives him a lot of teamfight power, and this is really where XL are starting to evolve into that 1-3-1. It's very hard to pressure the Tahm Kench Jinx in the mid lane. The Baron's not available to sort of look for yet, and right now you can just send that Renekton bot, you can send the Ryze top lane, and it's very easy to execute the split push. Barrage don't really have any answers, especially with Baron off the table, so yes, they took down the Crocodile before, but they got nothing off it in terms of objectives.
Alright, well, Ocean Drake's spawning up soon as well. 1 minute on that. This does look like the wave clear that Barrage has does actually kind of put the brakes on a little bit for XL. Sivir now with that Infinity Edge and Zeal is going to be able to
But
do a
only
fair
in this
amount of
one
work.
lane is the issue. And that's the thing, is that in the mid lane, it's not really where XL are looking for pressure. They just want control, and Jinx still manages to shove in pretty effectively. But you can see they're now moving into this red side jungle. They're trying to get control here.
Oh, Scudzy, he just takes a massive combo. Repel goes up and Taxa jumps out. Zap's going to get dodged out here for the moment. We do have a tweet at the bottom of this screen.
Yeah, from XL Kieran. XL Kieran and XL Joel, who are brothers in charge of XL. And then on the side of Barrage, there is Barrage James and Barrage Jeff, who are both in charge of Barrage. So both pairs of brothers going head to head. Which brothers will prevail? You have to see. Nice little tweet showing some camaraderie. Camaraderie?
You were almost there.
Hit me with it then.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie, yeah, right.
You said it so wrong that I actually, for a minute, forgot how to say it, but this is that Arky comp coming out. The Glacial Fish is on, and the fight is going to break. You can see already Kasinga's used that great help, but into the fight, as Inax is able to pick himself up one. He is doing so much work and remaining untouched for the moment. The Zap the Cocoon goes wide, and XL do turn around for one quick kill.
They get a great save, and Exile is still pushing in the top lane, and this is how you know Exile are in control, because throughout their entire play, they didn't call for the Rise TP, and he just kept pushing on that side of the map. Inax, almost untouched in that fight, did have to flash in the end, but the Jinx is starting to get really scary when she's not threatened.
You can see how much damage he did. He only has the Infinity Edge and the Zeal in that fight.
The big thing is if he crits or not. Yeah, if he crits, it hurts.
Yeah.
And the crucial thing is there's no one on the side of Barrage who wants to take those crits. Like, Aatrox is pretty far behind, and even then he's not a tank, he's a bruiser. Yes, Braum is tanky, but as a support, you're always going to be behind in gold relative to the carries of the enemy team, so no one really wants to soak those, apart from Braum with his Unbreakables. Not a fun situation for Barrage, but you can see the desperation start to come in. They know they can't handle the 1-3-1, so they're starting to try and force with the Sivir. Unfortunately, that wasn't the situation where they found it.
Xingdim, a support's duty of holding the wave. See, he's got that QSS as well, so if Camille catches him out with a bubble...
He's a QSS and the cleanse.
Yeah, he's real hard to pick.
And the thing is, with that CC prevention, you essentially provide it for your AD carry, because if any CC comes in on you, you can't obviously eat your AD carry, but with having the cleanse and the QSS, you're almost always going to be able to offer that.
Watch him build a Crucible now as well.
Might be a bit over the top, but...
That would be ridiculous.
You never know. For now, they are starting to get control of this Baron area. And you can see Scudzy hanging around bot side looking for Sendo. No flash, no stopwatch, but does have that GA. But if he does commit to that bot lane play, they could definitely go for that Baron.
Taxo does dodge out. He actually might have these concussive blows stacking up. That's going to be the ulti thrown out. The Realm Warp in, and Exile launches in the Super Mega Death Rocket. Gets blocked up by Bartiono's Unbreakable, but Artorias takes a jump. In comes the Paranoia, and you can see Scudzy jumps into the backline. Kasing gobbles him up to make sure he's alive. The GA is going to get used from Camille. Comes in with a little bit of burst on for the moment. As Scudzy flashes away. Sendo just running a mess in the front. The GA is going to get used, and Camille's managed to find himself a kill. Taxa now trying to enter in. That's going to be another one. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but the health bars are just so low. One reset here for Inax.
Jinx
is
is
going
excited.
on. Jinx is so excited, and Artorias will be able to walk out. The turret shot takes him down, and Inax has no arms.
Jinx got way too excited there, ends up going down at the end of it. Thought it was going to be the sort of pentakill team fight you see. Oh, actually, Jakamaka might look for Exile here.
It's going to be real hard. He's got the Ceres, he's got the Roa.
Yeah, but probably not a good option to go for that, but such a back and forth. You saw Kumel do so much. Artorias is coming with a TP.
Artorias has not a lot of HP though already. You can see how much Exile's capable of doing to him. Gets himself the Eon, the Rune Prison, and Artorias is forced to run away.
Yeah, not the best GP I've seen, but I respect the effort. Will back off, and was a very back and forth fight. Barrage still absolutely giving it there, but crucially they weren't able to shut down Exile. And Inax, although he died to the tower at the end, still put out so much damage there. Now has that Rune Arms for even more AoE.
Okay. Can see Exile are looking to try and set up around Baron. They've got a few wards out for the moment. Taxa is going to get spotted up by Bartiono. They just send a little Spiderling over.
Big things that happen in that fight. Sendo, GA down. Scudzy, GA down. They are crucial cooldowns to sort of allow them to die, but the thing is, I feel like Scudzy without his GA just dies so quickly. Whereas Sendo is still a menace without his.
Scudzy getting his Rift Herald actually. Rift Scuttler, sorry. It's really nice. Gives him locked vision, which can't be cleared for a little bit, so they will at least have some idea what's going on around the Baron pit for the moment. As you can see, the 1-3-1 has started up once again here for XL. That fight was maybe a little bit too risky for them.
Crucial thing to look at is the fact that Sendo's TP will come up before Artorias's. That is the window I'm expecting XL to punish. And I can feel, you can see from how Barrage are playing, they're desperate to make something happen before then.
Oh.
Because if they find a fight when Sendo has the TP and Artorias doesn't, it's going to be a 4v5, and that's not a fun situation to be in.
Sendo has such a CS lead as well here.
Yeah, pretty significant. I mean, Artorias is fine just to clear under the tower, but you're never going to have pressure in that lane.
See already, those rockets doing a lot.
Realm comes in.
On the flash in by Taxa. Now they're jumping onto Bartiona. The Glacial Fisher connects onto multiple members. And Notorious has jumped in. The Super Mega Death Rocket has picked up one, and the Paranoia is on. Sleepy Bubble Trouble goes a little bit wide, and Scudzy trying to rip for Exile.
Sendo's
but he's
flanking.
unable to do. Sendo's on that flank. He's going in hard, baby. He gets him double kill. Make it a double kill for this Inax. And oh, Lord, XL get a fight.
Yeah, so the fight started off really aggressively from XL. Looked like it might go back a bit, but as soon as Sendo came into that back line, they just fell apart, and XL easily going to be able to pick up that Baron. No one off the contestation, a clean ace. And you got to beg the question, maybe Bartiona should have flashed away from that cocoon.
I said at the beginning that Mountain Drake was going to be real useful for taking Baron, but you can't use it if you're dead.
Yep, absolutely true. Now, one good thing for the side of Barrage is that they still have that Silver Wave clear. Now picked up that Essence Reaver, good on that ground, but the issue is you're going up against a 1-3-1, which you already had trouble with. It's only going to get worse now the Baron buff is there, and I feel like Sendo and Exile are just going to be a menace on these side lanes.
I mean, if they can get Triple Ocean as well, it means they have so much regen to work with. It's like a mini Warmogs. I have to see whether or not XL actually decide to try and contest that objective against them.
I mean, I feel like XL are in the position to get this third Warmog, this third Ocean.
Third Warmogs.
Third. Imagine having 3 Warmogs.
It'd be relatively useless.
I mean, you have a lot of HP.
You would.
You'd be a tanky boy. For now, you see the 1-3-1 is sort of the position it's gone. XL pretty easily pick up that Ocean Drake. And now it's just about defending against this Baron push. But the thing that I'm questioning is the fact that Jackamak and Bartiona were stepped so far forwards when they got picked out there.
Oh, Taurus is throwing the ultimate on. Paranoia's in already. The fight's breaking out, and I can't see what's going down. Already a fight in the top lane as well as Camille's getting chunked out. It's just mid laner for mid laner here, but Exile trying to turn it. 1v3, the fear is on. He forces the res out, and Notorious might just be able to get him. The shield is so big. Oh my God, Exile, you absolute animal, you absolute heathen. The Realm Warp is thrown down. The Q gets spell shielded out, and Scudzy is running away. Exile, what the hell was that?
He just absolutely destroys them 1v2. They look for the fight, they lose out, and XL are gonna punish. They take down so many members of the Barrage roster, and they're taking the base with it.
They're teleporting in as well. Both inhibitors are down in both the mid and the top lane. They're starting to do some work onto these turrets with the Baron buff, and Bartiona gets locked up, CC'd. Sendo slices and dices forward, takes him down, and Jackamaka runs away, throws out the Boomerang Blade. The health bars are low. Maybe a Ricochet could be golden, but no, the Nexus goes down, and XL at 27 minutes take out Barrage.
Wow, and this is the XL we expected, but didn't have for a while. They had win conditions, they played to them. Some mistakes around the bot lane, but overall they just came in strong.
I mean, that was the XL we've wanted to see for a while now.
Yeah.
They've had a rough 2 weeks. They bounced back hard. And they had a fantastic showing there versus Barrage. And, you know, that wasn't the Barrage we've seen for the last 2 weeks as well. They looked lost in this game. And Taxa just made sure Artorias was completely useless all game.
That's the big question, is that Artorias has always been a bit of a feast of famine player. We saw him on the Riven pop off. That Aatrox performance, not so much. So it goes both ways. And ultimately, that was a sort of that lead that they got in the top lane was what started things off and ended up costing the game, I feel. There were other areas, but it just felt like they got behind and then they just couldn't do anything in that lane. The Renekton was huge in team fights, and it just got to the position where they couldn't handle the rise of Jinx. So
now, we're going to have MVP in a second. I haven't been told what it is yet, so I'm curious to think, who do you think gets MVP coming out of that game?
It's pretty, I would say it's got to be Exile. I don't think he died that whole game.
What about Taxa, though? Taxa, like, set the team up for success as well.
See, I'm good friends with Taxa, and I know him quite well, which is why I would never give him MVP. Because
Exile. Exile did get MVP coming out of that game, so
I would personally never give it to Taxa because it just gets to his head. It just messes with his ego,
so it's tactical. Makes sense. Well, if you didn't agree with that, you can actually head over to our Twitter, LVP UK, and we will have at the end of the show the Unsung Hero vote, where players who maybe deserved MVP but didn't get it today can be voted by you guys at home for the Unsung Hero, and we'll announce the winner of that tomorrow. So
Taxa's definitely, you can make an argument for, who was it in the game before who I thought it was Nulty. So a lot of junglers not getting the praise of MVP that they deserve, but
I
in
mean,
pretty good efforts.
safe to say Tax's Elise looked better than Nolty's Elise.
Yeah, absolutely. Nolty's Elise, but his Olaf was pretty good.
His Olaf was very good. It was a very good game. Now, that does mean XL are our last team, making it in... No, sorry. Our next team, our third team, to make it into the semi-finals going in tomorrow, but we still have one more game.
Ooh,
We've got Darkspawn versus Fnatic.
Have we seen this matchup before?
Ah, man, only like once, maybe twice. This is the third time.
Third time.
It is drawn randomly for who they play each week, so unfortunately it's been a pretty rough tournament so far for Darkspawn as they've had to face up versus
Hasn't
Fnatic
been the
3
best, but,
times.
you know, Fnatic, they played 2 games last week. They lost 2 games last week. And that's not many teams get to lose 2 games in a week.
No.
Normally you lose 1 and you're out. So Fnatic,
You know, setting new records here, the UKLC.
absolutely. I think they're the first team to lose 2 games in a week.
Well, find out whether or not they can win, if they can win and pull back, or if Darkspawn can take them out. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we're back, it'll be Darkspawn versus Fnatic, so don't go anywhere.
breathe in the air, the light that surrounds me. If we hold ourselves together, we'll go far. Created a space. In my head it was empty.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC, where we have ourselves our last matchup of the day, which is going to be Darkspawn taking on Fnatic Rising. This is the third time that Darkspawn have had to face off against Fnatic, and
They just so Sin's name at the bottom. So
Wrong
nice
game.
to catch with you, Sin.
Oh, am I Sin now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They literally just put Sin's name at the bottom.
You know, we just miss him, so we
Yeah.
just put his name at the bottom. Then
Not
he
here
can be
this
here
week,
in
unfortunately.
text. You're right there.
Yeah, just, you know,
Fun and
admiring the powers. There we
there
go.
we are. That's my name.
Got it in the end.
I am JK Brain Matthews, and I'm obviously joined by Dan Orcs Harrison
And 3 Poros.
and 3 Poros. This is King Poro. He's actually he's big.
He's a
actually
big
quite
boy.
warm. It's real warm in the studio today. I'm just gonna put him on the chair. There
Okay,
you
yeah.
go.
I'll,
There you go, buddy. Just gonna. You can't throw Poros. If Braun finds out.
I can't throw Poros. You were talking about eating Poros earlier. Yeah, everyone finds about that.
Yeah, well, Braun would be pretty angry.
We have the new statue over there staring at
He
you.
looks really good. I'll maybe get that later. Maybe tomorrow. I'll show you that. Let's talk a little bit about this matchup here, because, you know, Fnatic, you know, got knocked out last week twice.
Yep.
Knocked off the tower, then knocked out of the round of 8.
Yep.
Then they've been at the top, but if they lose today, it's set for maybe the Ivalus to be able to overtake them in the rankings.
Yeah.
It's set
I
for
mean,
M&M to overtake them in the rankings. They need to make sure they get this win if they want to hold out
yeah,
fast.
I think
and strong.
it is definitely a Fnatic favored game. I think Darkspawn have been on the weaker end of the teams there, but they've definitely shown some life. And I think last week was a big, oh god, Fnatic are running it down. Because if they do that again, then, you know, I think Darkspawn has a chance to beat them. But if they get back to their usual form...
I mean, you learn more from your losses than you do from your victories. So
True.
they can
So
take
surely
that.
Darkspawn's been learning a ton.
Yeah. Also, you know, Fnatic learned a ton last week. They lost twice. So
Yeah, you know, the only team to lose twice in a week in the UKLC, so impressive from them.
I know, very impressive. But, you know, we need to look at what went wrong. So what
Which
did
is-
go wrong?
Complete tangent point. Remember when Fnatic had that remake against SK? So they lost 3 times. They lost 2 times a day. It's both Fnatics, you know? They're
It's a
keeping
running
up a
theme.
trend.
It's a running theme, man. I mean, back when there was best of 2s in the LCS as well, that was...
True.
They could technically lose 2 times in a row, which I'm fairly certain they probably did. Right, we're into picks and bans. Yasuo's going to get taken away. That Nico, once again, not going to be seen.
Yeah, Yasuo's been banned away a lot against Fnatic. You expect to see things like Lucian taken away in the early bans. Going to be interesting because Flirt's been playing a lot of this Draven. Do we see that banned away from him?
I want to see it.
It is like his pocket pick.
And it's quite good at the moment as well. People have opted away from the Conqueror and more into the press the attack or
I've
fleet
seen people go
footwork.
Klepto as well. If they're in a
Klepto.
lane match, they can farm. Particularly in the Ezreal. Would you say
That's
the Lucian
real.
banned away from Darkspawn, which is interesting that they're banning it on blue side. Does that mean Fnatic answer with a Drake?
No.
Yes,
Yes.
it does.
I don't know why I
Mean
said no. I saw it went no.
that, means to answer the Draven ban. Potentially something, well, yeah, Jarvan could come out. Maybe something like the Yorick from Fnatic Rising. I think you just ban away these problematic split pushers. And it comes down to what Darkspawn going to pick, because Flirt looked great on the Draven. He doesn't have that anymore. We are seeing the Thresh taken away from Vigor, so punishing that bot lane, you could still get some early power if you wanted to pick a Kalista. Very confident early pick, leaving the support till later to decide the matchup, but question's going to be what are Fnatic going to take into this, and looks like they might go back to Dan's Olaf, which we saw a lot of strength in the early weeks, but did flounder a bit at times when he falls behind. It's rare, but he
Not
can
clinging
be
to his
useless.
Scarfus either. That's been, you know, quite a staple for the Fnatic Rising, at least for the first
Yeah.
few weeks. They were picking that. Instantly going to lock Prosper the Alistair as well. See what Darkspawn look to answer out with. I mean, Galio Kalista makes for a
That is a
really
nice
powerful
combo.
lane. You
Yeah.
lob him in, he taunts up the whole team. And
That's
then
pretty
just
solid.
big
They
cheap
have an
CC.
answer though, because the good thing about Alistair is that you can't dodge the combo. you can flash it, you can't dodge it. If the Alistair's in range to combo you, you get comboed as long as he doesn't mess it up. So it's a good answer to the Calista. Olaf, not so much. It's quite good at kiting it, but this is the textbook down pick that he's seen have quite a bit of success on. We'll be interested to see if Darkspawn pick up a jungler in response. But they're actually going to go for mid, so Beely bringing out the Orianna very early on. And the question is going to be instant Lissandra coming out. Probably from Magi Felix. They are going for very much a mid-game teamfight engage composition. They want to lock down those carries and murder them. But these are very quick picks coming out from Fnatic, so it almost suggests that they expected this and they planned for it. Do have a ban towards at least in for PFI. Wouldn't surprise if we see something like the Sejuani taken off as well. And Darkspawn, I would lean a couple of bans towards AD carries if I was on their side, but there is still the option of top laners, because remember, if Shikari wants it, he can get that counter pick.
I mean, the Kai'Sa is still open and available. We've seen Xmadi like that. Tristan is still open as well, something we've seen in the UK running for a while. And it's pretty decent on this patch.
To me, that comp is a Sivir comp.
Ooh.
Like, if you have the Olaf, the Alistair, the Lissandra, that is a composition I'd want to play Sivir with. I would ban Sivir next rotation if I was Darkspawn. Potentially take away the Sejuani or the Gragas if I was Fnatic Rising. Gragas would be good because of the disengage. Sejuani is just pretty solid, and PFI is definitely taken a liking to it. So they're actually going to go for the Kindred, so opting for something that will offer protection to the backline, but does mean that the Gragas and Sejuani are still available. And it's got to be a Sivir. To me, it has to be a Sivir ban coming out here. I'd really worry if it wasn't.
No, it's the Tristana. I was 2 for 2 there, my dude, but this means Xmadi can take it, which means you're right as well, so...
I think they should just take the Sivir here. I think it'd be a really solid pick. The matchup into Calista isn't the best, but I don't think you have to play for that because you just win team fights so hard with the Sivir.
I mean, you can't go for something really flashy, but I feel like Fnatic Rising, they know they need to win today. They know they need to play safe, so most likely something like a Sivir would suit what they're looking for.
It's a bit dicey in a lane matchup, but you don't play for the lane matchup. You play to win team fights, and they will go for that Sivir, which means that Fnatic Rising, they have a composition similar to what Barrage were going for, where they press R and they run at you. And that is so hard to deal with Calista, because Calista wants to kite back. She wants a little bit of space. No one on that composition wants to give you space. So now it comes over to what Darkspawn are going to pick in return. Gragas would be a decent pickup in terms of disengage, but the matchup in it Olaf, it can be okay. So they're going to go for that Gragas. And then top lane, Yorick is open. Okay, bear that in mind that they could always pick that Yorick pick. So that is always a threat from Shikari. So you have to pick something versatile that can match up in the split push, but also offers a solid front line to your team. So, bit of a tricky one. Leaning towards that Ornn, which
is versatile.
Wouldn't do that good into the split push, but would give a good late game win condition. So now the question is going to be, are Fnatic going to double down their team fight? Or are they going to go, hey, we can pick like the Yorick in the side lane and win the split push? Because that is an absolute option. Looks like they are playing with fire.
I'd actually like to see the team fight here, but
I'd like to see the Yorick because it gives them an extra win condition. Their team fight's already pretty good.
Yeah, you know, just make it better.
But yeah, the Yorick does get locked in, so 100% win rate. Yeah, oof. Well, I've been pretty good on these predictions.
Yeah, you've done pretty good.
So
I got my 2. So
yeah,
you know, for me as a play-by-play caster, I can walk away quite happy with that.
I can see the ideas behind both compositions. I think Fnatic came out ahead in this draft because their comp's pretty easy to execute and they have that split push win condition. I will say, however, Darkspawn have some mean disengage. If Orianna and Calista are allowed to kite, they do it very well. The only concern for me is this top lane matchup, because in the late game, Yorick is just going to try and murder towers, and Horn, as most tanks in that matchup, isn't going to handle too well. It's not the worst, it's not great.
I feel like, though, if Darkspawn can get off like a really like kind of perfectly executed team fight, Call of the Forge got to engage, then they throw in the Galio.
I don't think it comes down to engage.
Gets a shockwave on top of him. You have Flirt just kiting around the edge of the fight.
I think it just comes down to disengage more than anything. Is that if you look for the engages, you might well struggle. But if you look to disengage, if they go absolutely as hard as they can and try and get on top of your Calista, and your Calista Orianna kite back, you get a good shockwave, good Gragas barrel, you could very really turn it around. Because one of the crucial things is that you look at Fnatic's comp, they are very short ranged. And if you want to get close to a Calista or a Orianna, you better be hitting them, because if you're in close range to them and you're not, you will just get blown up. Like if a Sivir's running up and then you get caught by a shockwave and there's a Calista hitting you as well, you will die so quickly. And that's why I feel like the execution can be there. They have the good composition to find those engages, but if they botch it, it could really go dire fast. But they do have that Yorick split push, so that's always an extra win condition.
Well, let's take a little look at the Darkspawn run-up, followed up by the Fnatic line-up here. Pretty much all the same from what we've seen for previous weeks. No changes. As we are through on to the Summoner's Rift for our 4th and final game here at day 1, week 5 of the UKLC. It's all to play for. We've only got 2 weeks left to the regular split.
Yeah, definitely getting the thick of things. And how fast things have gone. Feels
Yeah,
like
I'm actually, I can't believe how, like, I got in this morning. I didn't come in this morning. I came in midday. Actually,
Wow.
well after midday.
I slept here. I didn't actually leave last week. That's why I'm
Oh,
wearing
did
the
you?
same clothes.
Oh, okay. They just let you back in.
No, I just slept the whole time. I was just here the whole
I mean,
week.
after we went to Nando's, you know. We always
Yeah,
go
yeah,
for-
I came back in, yeah. They just let me in. The broken window was completely unrelated.
Oh, okay. Yeah. With the orc-shaped hole in the window.
Don't know what you're talking about. Must have been a big hole.
All right.
So we do see
It's gone
Dan
sweeper.
come for the
Pretty.
early sweeper.
We've seen a few junglers pick this up, especially if you want to be proactive on the map. It means you can head in, try and catch out these wards. And
Yeah, but you have to ask, what is he going to do with it? Because one of the crucial things you can do is, it's very common in the early levels for these pixel brush wards to come out. You can see on the bot side, and I believe it's a Ghost Pyro on the top side. So it does give him some freedom to move through that area and clear it out. But it's interesting to see how he clears, whether he does go for that Predator rush. I feel like Dan's sort of pissed he might go for the Scuttle Crab first, and worry more about getting an efficient clear. This is the downside of that Alistair lane, not a champion to level 2.
yeah. Where Vigo on the Escalio is definitely a champion at all levels.
Absolutely. That level 1, pretty strong power spike. You can go that taunt.
The Colossal
effective.
Smash.
Both of them work, both viable level 1s, and his level 2 spike pretty significant as well. I think Alistair, when he hits level 3 and gets that trample, is in a pretty good position, but have to err on the side of safety until then. Be interested to see what skill order Akkas goes, because traditionally it's always been the W max Ornn, like when Ornn was super meta, but I think they changed it, and it's actually better to go different things. I remember Orome, who's a top laner for Splice Academy, he was saying how he felt Emax was really solid, but I think the standard is Q, but I think you can go all three, but I feel like in a matchup into a Ornn, you might well go something else. I mean, a matchup into a Yorick, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, remember, guys, there is a poll over on Twitch to let us know who you think is going to win this game. We'll be announcing the winner of that soon.
Now things will just quiet down, and Dan actually invading the enemy jungle.
If anyone is a little bit confused, it's not Barrage versus XL. We're 4 out of 4 on this today. It's Darkspawn versus Fnatic.
Yep, so hopefully we get that sorted out pretty soon.
So
but
don't be voting for Barrage and XL in this.
I think it'd be a safe bet to go for XL.
Yeah. Man, so you're a time traveler.
I'm just pretty smart. Things are going very slow right now.
You say
Oh,
that,
he
Vigo
gets the
goes in,
knockup.
Headbutt actually comes back down. The Winds of War are on X-Maddie's forced to use the heal, but they've got themselves their auto-attack reset. Flirt takes a big chunk of damage.
You take that. I mean, yes, Flare is slightly lower, but you crucially got that heal out of X-Mighty. It's a good trade. I'll take it. That summon advantage could come in clutch later on. Especially one of the big things of bot lane is when you go into those fights, and this is why I might use it so early, but I would probably say too early. But the reason you want to use your heal early is because Ignite cuts down the healing from it.
Yeah.
So a good support will use Ignite when he thinks he's going to kill you, and then your heal's got reduced effectiveness, which is why at the high level, AD carries will try and use the heal earlier than the Ignite comes. So if Flirt gets a good one out before Crossfair's Ignite comes down, they could definitely get a massive advantage in the 2v2 fight. Interesting to see that Matty did opt for the heal. He knows that, there's a lot of lane strength from this Callista, because sometimes you do see those Sivers go and teleport.
And I feel if Flirt had used his heal, probably looking at a fairly equal trade, but because of the fact that Xmadi did use his heal, he walks away with more HP, but like you said, for him,
I think it's balanced out by this point as well.
The fleet footwork as well has helped Xmadi kind of stay fairly in control of his health.
But I think looking at health bars, they're right even now, so
Yeah.
you definitely take that now. Flirt gone for a recall, crucially, so I'll equalize there. And Dan just going on a storm once again with his farming. And this is what he does. This is the Dan way. You farm hard, and he is now pretty significant CS lead over PFI. PFI unable to find any ganks yet, but just hasn't had the most efficient pathing compared to Dan, who is essentially the pathing god in the UK scene. Not the most impactful in the terms of ganking, but he will make sure he gets a big amount of CS and is strong. And the thing is, his lane, he's pretty confident, just let them do their own thing, and they will find strength.
All right, 5 minutes on the clock. Dan's going to start up this Ocean Drake. You can see Fnatic have himself a slight gold lead over Darkspawn.
The Ocean Dragon tends to be the one that people don't rate too much until you get a couple, but it is the strongest in the early game. In the early levels, Mountain doesn't do much fear because you're not taking Baron or anything. Cloud, it's okay for roaming, but it's not great. Infernal's nice, but at this point in the game, it's barely giving you a longsword. But Ocean, that extra sustain in lane is so nice to have across the board. I don't think there's a single champion who wouldn't like that. I mean, obviously, manaless ones don't get quite as much benefit, but you can see picked up now by Dan, and this is exactly how Dan wants his early game to go. Look at the CS difference in the jungle. He's 2 levels up, even though he picked up that dragon as well. Now 1 level, but still, they're looking mid.
In. Beely's used the cleanse already, and the flash. Not going to be able to get himself a turnaround here, and Beely also takes that Q to the face on the way out.
Yep, felt threatened, felt he had to flash, and this is the issue. Dan now higher level. This is when he can start to make his impact known on the map. He has that level 6 advantage over PFI, and his first gank is definitely a success, getting 2 summoners from the Orianna, who is pretty vulnerable if she's caught without them.
Now Magic Felix has flash, and when his R comes up, maybe that's the play. Goes in for the flash R. Dan comes hurling in as well on that. Olaf could be pretty rough for Beely now.
Akka's going to be playing 1v2 top lane up against both the Maiden and the Yorick. Always fun.
Well, Dan's also waiting about. So he's hanging around this top side. Top to mid is where he's kind of been playing so far. Just going for an invade, trying to get some
vision. It'd be bold to go for a dive on the Ornn now, and I think, understandably, they're not going to go for it. Let Akis just pick up this wave, but they do have quite a bit of control in the topside area, and that's something you want to establish because 2 minutes, we're going to see the Rift Herald be spawned. And I have no doubt Dan is going to just head straight over to that.
Well, he's got a 30 CS lead almost over PFI. He's also running that Predator as well, so can make these plays
he's up
happen quickly.
Okay, it's now 1 level again. PFI just hit 6, but the level advantage is really crucial as well. Those early levels,
it's like 11 and a half, I
think.
Shikari will be able to get this plate in. Maiden just slowly takes it.
Almost the entire goal difference between the 2 teams now is on Dan. Just purely on that Olaf. There's a bit coming from Shikari as well, but it's pretty significant.
Is he taking the blue? Yeah, he is.
Wow. Greedy jungler.
He's being that jungler.
Yeah, that sort of one, especially when Magic Felix isn't even going for a mana item, but I suppose he's fairly confident in his mana levels. Does have the TP as well, if he wants to get back in the lane.
It's not the old Lissandra passive, where you got 1 free spell every 8 seconds.
Yeah, but I think the big thing is that her base mana regen got buffed as a result of that being removed, so it's not an awful position.
Plus, the new passive is very impactful.
It's
the
so
Frozen
good for team
Thrall
fights,
is,
yeah.
especially in closed environments where you're basically just permanently slowing people, popping them.
Yeah.
I said permanently.
I mean, the worst thing is, imagine you're trapped in the cage from Yorick.
PFI's on a ward, so
I'm not sure he knows, though.
Fnatic know, though.
He's going to tell the
It's their
recall.
ward.
To me, if I was Fnatic, I'd be heading towards that top side and getting control of that Rift Herald area because it's spawning soon.
Beely's cleanse comes up soon, so
Needs to play safe till he has that. Looks like Fnatic going to shove that mid lane in pretty hard and then get control of this Rift Herald area.
Yeah, Dan definitely wants to get his hands on that. He's 2 levels over PFI, and he's actually found him out here. No, he hasn't, but maybe Beely's found him. Just walking away. PFI spotted out on that control. We've got placed down by Dan.
And it's going to get
It's
killed.
definitely been a slower start to this game. Last game, very explosive, very action-packed. Fnatic, knowing that I had such a big upset last week, and the standings were shaken up so much by them losing.
Yeah.
Playing with a lot of respect towards their opponents. They've gone for the lane swap. You can see Fnatic are also doing the exact same thing. They know how much emphasis is being put down onto this Rift Herald.
It's going to be a big one, and I feel like at this point in the game, I have to favor the team fight from Fnatic, especially with how strong Dan is. So, I think Darkspawn, they're happy with a slow game right now, because Fnatic's mid game is scary. They want to get to that point where the Ornn's massive and starts giving out items, and Beely can just dominate with a shockwave, and where that Olaf gold lead doesn't mean so much, but now, Matty, walking up.
They're throwing him in. That's going to be Fate's call. Spell Shield blocks it up, and Prosper uses the Unbreakable. Now PFI making his way in, does have that cast, throws it down. He's tanking up so much health. In comes the double teleports, and Magic Felix ults himself inside Vigo. Here comes the bounce house. Here comes the Ornhorn, knocking up one, and first blood picked up by Dan. But Fnatic are hungry for blood. They're itching for kills, but Darkspawn will not give it up to them.
Yeah, just overzealous from Flair. Ooh, they went aggressive. They didn't find Matty. That's fine. But don't commit onto the Alistair. He still had flash. He still had ult. It just really was not the play you should be looking for. And now it hands over that Rift Herald straight to Fnatic.
Prosper bought so much time. Look at his health. He's fine.
I mean, he's Alistair. You just press R and stand there.
Beely takes a Boomerang Blade. That's a shockwave available to him, though. Akka's also on the wings. He could see maybe Darkspawn try something. Not going to do it, though. They just let Fnatic pick up the Rift Herald, and now they're going to try and see where they can crack open on the game, as plates haven't actually fallen down too much here. We're approaching that 14-minute mark as well, where they're going to fall off. So all that bonus gold that Fnatic could pick up and just accelerate the state of the game.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd head bot. They're moving the bot lane down already. Well, MJR Mouthpiece, I think that prediction of yours is fairly... if I was on Fnatic, I'd be coming back one at a stomp. You know, I'd be coming back with a chip on my shoulder, and right now they're heading over to the bot side of the map, moving the bot lane there as well. And with that Rift Herald up, like you said, they can get a load of plates, but also that Cloud Dragon definitely on the cards.
All right. Cloud Drake really enables a lot of this kind of run comp as well. Just gives so many more bonus movement speed, especially considering it now applies in combat as well as out of combat.
Yeah.
I say now as if it hasn't been a thing for a very long time. Beely, though, maybe looking for something onto Prosper. Not going to find him.
Prosper's waiting. They might actually look for something here, but Darkspawn not going to walk up. And Jakari is doing Yorick things and just splitting away in the top lane.
He got a lot of plates.
Yeah.
He got 3 plates there in the top lane, because one had already gone down earlier. Rift Herald still being held on for by Dan. They're starting up this Cloud Drake. Darkspawn know it's going on. They don't have complete vision on it, but they know it's happening. It's going to get picked up here. In 5 seconds till those plates fall off, so not going to use the Rift Herald for the bonus gold, but will most likely use it for a turret.
Which, in terms of gold, they'll get less overall off the map, but the thing is they're clearly waiting to get the most structural damage possible. Because if you use it after the 40 minutes, it's so much easier just to take off the tower at the back end. We've seen so many pre-40-minute Rift Heralds chunk the tower down but not kill it. And then the plating is just too much to survive the auto attacks from the rest of the team. So it's clear Fnatic are looking to accelerate this game, not necessarily on goal, but on objective control. And
doing a good job of controlling
lanes.
the objectives as well. This is one of the things we can say about the Fnatic Rising squad. This is a team who've definitely had some of the best control we've seen so far, maybe ignoring last week. But generally their games have been very clean, very
slow and
controlled.
controlled, methodical. That is their game style, which is why It's not a surprise this game has been quite slow-paced, but I do expect things to explode a bit more in the mid-game. They have so much potential to find team fights. We'll see the gold come up, and pretty big difference in the jungle and top lane. That's where I'm really looking. 1,300 roughly for both of them. And jungle, it's an issue right now, but eventually it's not going to be as impactful. But top lane, that Yorick's going to be scary.
Gonna be very scary. You can see that, like, there's one moment is all Fnatic need to blow this game open. It's how they've played pretty much every other week. As PFI altered and cancelled it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Smart moves from PFI, but
So
Dan.
a few visual bugs there, but
Dan just
great
caught
ulti.
sleeping, yeah.
Magic Felix will be able to take this turret down in the bot lane, but mid lane turret now will remain standing.
I mean,
Which really slows down Fnatic's plan of the 1-3-1 way.
yeah, but it's still a rough victory. It's like, cool, we saved one tower, but we lost two. You know, it's still not great. Does put Fnatic at a 4K goal lead, but as you said,
It doesn't completely shrink the map though for Darkspawn,
Yeah.
which is the nice thing here.
But now you gotta expect Fnatic gonna start really applying the pressure in this mid lane. Why wouldn't you?
Well, Maiden and Shikari making their way towards the top lane. 4 members of Fnatic are hanging around this mid lane. They know that this is how you start to open up the map. This is how you start to shrink the map for the enemy. Get a bit more control. You can then move in, play some deeper wards, and play a more controlled game. It's only 16 minutes on the clock. Gold lead. 4K in favor of Fnatic for the moment.
Flirt and Vigo able to defend mid pretty safely. And that's the thing, with the Callistas, you can always walk forwards as a Galio. You know that ult's going to come in to save you. So using that to get a bit of control. But I mean, one of the dire things, you have the TP on Magic Felix, not yet available, but it means he's always going to be comfortable in the side lane. Beely, not so much. And you can see he's hesitating to head down there. So right now, it's a bit of a battle for vision between these two teams.
Because taking a bit of a 1v1 here. Can see Maiden.
Ooh, that's
a fair
actually
amount of damage here, actually.
That's actually a solid point I didn't think about for the Ornn, is that your E actually destroys terrain, like player-owned terrain. So it can actually just smash through the cage he puts around you. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool interaction. But still, absolutely gets murdered by him in terms of damage.
I mean, Shikari didn't even hit him. It was just Maiden sucking his soul out.
Yeah.
She's kind of like a Death Eater from Harry Potter.
Yeah, very much so.
Maybe less scary to kids. Is
Beely.
That's pretty scary. Dan's looking for him. Has himself the ultimate, but not going to use the Ragnarok to stop the blast cone.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know Beely's got summoners, but it means they get a lot of pressure on this bot side. Prospero's going to use his Demolish. And I really have to question if Beely can defend this.
Answer's probably no here. Dan doing a fair amount of work onto this turret as PFI is making his way through. Prosper, the Living Ward has spotted him out. That's going to be the Predator on the Ornhorn gets used, and Magic Felix flashes away from both of them. Gets clipped with the tail end of the Call of the Forge God.
But meanwhile, top lane, Yorick is doing Yorick things. And this is a problem. You commit one side, on the other side of the map, you're just going to get pressured in. Fnatic playing this 1-3-1 exactly how it should be done. And they not only do they get that top tower, they get the bottom one as well. And now this mid lane tower is sticking out like a sore thumb. It's going to be very difficult to defend from here. But for now, Fnatic going to reset, spend a bit of that gold on Magic Felix. Next dragon up 10 seconds.
It's going to be another Ocean Drake. As X-Matic throws the Boomerang Blade out. He's gone Essence Reaver over Infinity Edge. Difference from what we saw last game.
Yeah,
Shikari
I think
wants to join in, gets belly bopped here. Vigo charging that taunt up.
That
Doesn't actually
damage.
find an opening. Headbutt pulverizes coming in. Dan's joined the fight. A 3-man shockwave though comes down by Beely. In comes the claw, and Magic Felix has jumped in. The ultimate is going to pick up one already. They pull him back, and the Frozen Thrall chases Darkspawn out. Fnatic find themselves 1 kill.
that gold lead showing up huge there. So much damage from the side of Fnatic. Even with the big 3-man shockwave from Beely, it just wasn't enough. And I think your point about the Essence Reaver completely makes sense. No. You're in a position where your job is basically just to wave clear mid and be an ult bot. The CDR are a lot more useful in that scenario. So Mighty knows this game isn't about him. He didn't pick a lane matchup where he's going to dominate. He picked a lane matchup to facilitate his team, and right now it really is the Shikari show in the side lane, and then Dan facilitating that.
Yeah, Captain Wave Clear. That's his job here.
That's
He's
why
got
I
himself
think
the rapid fire cannon now over just the Blade of the Ruin King and double daggers for Flirt. So got himself a whole item as Baron Nashor will take to the Rift. For the first time today, we haven't seen a Mountain Drake, and the next Drake will also be a third Ocean. So you had some good Drakes at the beginning of the day. So, since I've come on, it's calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Although the XL game was explosive. They didn't need Drakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's just another win condition for Fnatic when it gets later on, because Ornn is great in the late because of those items he offers.
Oh, Flirt. Magic Felix throws in the Frozen Tomb. Prospect comes in and steals away the kill. The Frozen Thrall locks Vigo down. He's taking so much damage here as Magic Felix is throwing Q after Q. Blocks out the Justice Punch here by Prospect. Does have himself the Headbutt Pulverize available, and the stuns are coming in. And Axe comes down, and poor old Magic Felix has 2 kills taken away from him. But the minions are on. They're jumping in for Akers. His health bar's low, and Shikari's chasing. One more spade to the head should do it, but the minions come in and get the kill for him. Shikari with the solo kill and a wholesome signature at the bottom of the screen.
He's trying to TP out.
Oh, can he get it? The shockwave's available.
He gets
He's gonna get out, and oh my lord, Shikari escapes. PFI now wants to see if he can steal this away. Already used himself the belly bop, and Magic Felix is on zone control. The blast,
there's no way from here.
PFI, you are in a dangerous predicament, my friend. Maybe Magic Felix can get this kill. The fail flash, he
And
goes
the stopwatch
golden.
as well.
You hate to see it.
That suggests a little bit of tilt coming out from PFI.
Oh,
Right there. Not happy with the way this game has gone, and Shikari gets the kill in the 1v1 and then TP's out.
perfect game here by Fnatic.
It is so far, yeah, absolutely.
6-0 on the scoreboard, 3-0 Drakes, a 10k gold lead. They've got the only Baron that spawned at the game. They've got 5 turrets to 0. Fnatic are playing a clean, controlled game here versus Darkspawn.
Someone annoyed them last week when they got taken out.
I think it
Someone
was
very much annoyed them.
I think it was Eminem, and I think it was Enclave.
Yeah, and they are taking it out
To
on
be honest,
Darkspawn right now.
I think they probably annoyed themselves.
Yeah. By all
Those teams
means.
played well. They played poorly last week. It's fair to say that. They've bounced back, and they're playing a very clean, controlled macro game here.
But, always got to be a but.
But Akers might be in trouble. In comes the hero's entrance. They've got the Call of the Forge God on. Knocks him up with the Justice Punch, and the taunt comes down. 4 members invested into Shikari.
5.
And your perfect game is over, Fnatic. You will lose an inhibitor turret, though, as Fnatic are just going to rip through this objective with the Baron, with the Demolishes.
Yeah, they takes 5 members to safely take down Shikari. As you said, denies that perfect game, but an inhibitor tower goes over. I think that's a decent trade. You're probably going to lose it anyway. You might as well stop some of the pressure. So good move from Darkspawn.
And you actually keep 2 of your key disengage ultimates as well for the next stage, where you've got that Shockwave, you've got the Fate's Call, you've got the Explosive Cask. But Fnatic aren't even letting them get into that opening, aren't even letting them that happen. Predator's been popped by Dan, and Inhibitor is getting focused out here by this cannon minion. Flirt will be able to take it down, but Magic Felix, he's got his own minions to work with for the moment, and Shikari is back onto the Rift.
Okay, so the miracle win condition for Darkspawn is an overcommit from Fnatic, and they get a big shockwave to turn the fight around. It's not a great win condition because it relies on Fnatic making a mistake, but it's what they have to hope for right now because they are not in a good position.
Darkspawn able to hold out for the moment. Third Ocean Drake spawning in 1 minute's time. Sex Maddie
more
still
oceans.
got that Baron. About 2-3 waves left of it. The Shikari doesn't have it, which is quite key.
Darkspawn light look here.
They're going in. Vigo goes in for the taunt. Boomerang Blade connects onto him. Teleport's coming in, and Shikari looking to go into the fight. Shockwave lands onto no one. In comes the taunt. Oh, Magic Felix! That was disgusting! And Fnatic are now on a tear. Beely and PFI are the only 2 to stand as the rest of the team fall down. The inhibitor will go down, and Fnatic are looking to try and close this game out right here. Another turret will fall to the Maiden. The inhibitor to follow. They've got Baron still. They've got minions still. 2 inhibitors down, and 2 members of Darkspawn to defend. A lot of damage. The minions go launching in. The headbutt pulverized, and Shikari takes him down. Turret number 1 and turret number 2 short to follow. Fnatic in 25 minutes crush Darkspawn.
And that was a fast game. Not quite perfect, but very close from Fnatic.
I mean, you can't give Shikari MVP.
He cost them the perfect game.
He inted them the perfect game. But outside of that, Fnatic played a fantastic game, and you took 5 members of Darkspawn to kill Shikari. It was rough for them. They had a really hard early game. Well, I mean, actually had an equal early game, but it was just the mid game. Fnatic just remained in control.
Fnatic played the exact game they want. You know, they got that slow attrition ahead. They got that lead onto Dan. They started building an objective lead. And then when the time came to it, there was just nothing that Darkspawn could do against a 1-3-1. And that side lane pressure from the Yorick just became too much of an issue. I said in draft, I feel like they should have banned away the Yorick or the Sivir. Both of those are viable options. I feel like the Yorick just came to be too much on the handle, and it put a timer on the game. Because that's the thing, is normally if you're against a mid-game team fighting comp like Fnatic, you're like, okay, we survived the mid-game, we can scale up. But with that Yorick, it's just never really the case.
It was really clean by Fnatic. Obviously, we now look at who's made it through into the semi-finals for tomorrow. Obviously, Diabolus remain at the top of the tower, so they're still there as a threat for the teams. You've got Fnatic and XL are the 2 key ones I'm watching. XL had a rough 2 weeks. Fnatic had a rough week last week. And both of these teams are currently in positions where their spot in the rankings could be undone in a moment. So for them both to get a win is going to be big but here. If XL and Fnatic draw against each other, that could change a lot in the standings. But we do have our MVP. I'm wrong. It's Shikari, our wholesome buddy.
Even though they committed 5 members to take it down, it was his side pressure that got him to that point so far ahead in that Yorick. What an alpha.
I mean, the whole team played incredibly well. I'm just going to let that go. They played really well. But you need to look at, you know, where were the weaknesses? Where were they exploitable for tomorrow? And were there any cracks kind of shown?
No. I don't think that was a game where there was any sort of weaknesses shown by Fnatic, other than if you send 5 members against
That's not a weakness. The only thing that hurts is your perfect score. But outside of that, that's not a weakness. That's, I mean, I guess that's a strength, if anything. Shikari is such a threat.
The argument you can make that is always true is that Dan didn't make much happen in the early game. It was very slow and controlled. If you go in hard with like an aggressive jungler, as we saw, you know, Wyzek likes to do, we saw Nalty did that on his game. If you go in very aggressive, you can make more happen in the early game. But the problem was PFI just didn't find the traction, and so Dan farmed up a storm.
So who out of our junglers who've made it through do we think could be Dan's kryptonite?
Well, Tax's Elise game was pretty solid. If you pick a matchup in the Yorick that wasn't as desperately going to lose it in the late game, and you punish him like that, because remember, we saw the split push potential coming out from the matchup into Sendo. But Sendo, they just got the massive lead against that Aatrox, so that could he could absolutely do it. I feel like Nalty could do it as well, and I feel like just maybe, not to discredit PFI, because he's been really solid so far, but he just never really found the footing in that one.
All right, well, let's take a little look at the replays coming out of today's game so far, while we get ourselves set up for the draw show that's coming up just after this.
So First Blood the whole day over Tolium, who's shown a new pick this Rek'Sai, but wasn't enough to take them to victory. And then there was a pretty nutty solo kill from Ego Speed, but not enough, you know. That's the thing. These are like 2 good plays coming out from the side of Bulldogs, but they were the losers ultimately. It was, again, a solid game coming out from Phelan, who showed that they have found their sort of footing as a team. But the issue is, with how close things were against some of Bulldogs, yes, they won, but it wasn't super decisive. If they go up against a team like Fnatic, Phelan have to bring a whole nother game if they want to win that one.
Ego Speed looked very good in this game. I think it's fair to say he's not in he's not in it anymore. But you know, it's really been a game, a day of top laners. You know, Mummas versus Governor. Mummas looked incredible. Governor less so. Shikari for Fnatic got MVP. He was such a split push threat. You know, it's been heavily decided by these top laners. And like game 3 XL, we see Sendo on the Renekton, and he looked incredible. But you know, it's been a good day. It's been a good day for top laners here in the UK scene. But look where we are. We are ready for today's draw show. Now, I say this every week, but if you don't know what's going on, I'll explain what's going on here in the draw show. Now, after the round of 8 has ended, which was today's games, we have the semi-finals tomorrow. Now, we're going to draw who's going to be playing versus who. So, draw number 1 will be blue side for game 1 tomorrow. So, Ox, you can have the honors. I've not actually had the honors yet, but I don't trust myself. Closes his eyes.
Gotta make it fair. And it is. Whoa! XL.
Okay, XL will be on the blue side for game 1 tomorrow. So this will be blue side for game 2 tomorrow. This next team we're drawing. Now, if you're a team like Fnatic, this would be really nice because you want to avoid XL for at least as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is who's going to be avoiding XL. But if you're someone like M&M, you want to be avoiding.
It is M&M, so they avoid XL.
Question is, do they avoid Fnatic and go up versus someone like Bulldogs? Yeah. No, Phelan, sorry. Phelan. I know I said Bulldogs, right, Phelan. So this is going to be red side for game 1. So the team taking on XL.
Oh, this is Fnatic. It's going to be a spicy match.
It's going to be a very spicy match.
But it is going to be Fnatic Rising.
Fnatic Rising. All right, so our first game of tomorrow's day will be Fnatic Rising versus XL. And just for clarity's sake, you made me flinch. I don't know why I flinched as you threw the ball in the air.
It's going to be Phelan against M&M.
All right, let's get rid of this. I don't want this anymore. Oh, right. So, I would. There we go. Can he hold himself up?
It's like me after a night out.
Let's have a little look at the standings coming out of today's games and see where everyone is facing up. As Diabolus will remain at the top of the tower, 13 points. As Fnatic Rising, 12 points in second place. XL and M&M tied, and they will be avoiding each other. So if XL get knocked out by Fnatic, M&M can overtake them now.
Yeah, and I mean, I would argue that M&M have the easier matchup into Phelan, but by all means, Phelan, they have so much ground they can gain right now if they get a good week.
Well, let's have a little look at the bracket as well, just so you guys can visualize how everything will be going down. Obviously, Phelan beat out versus Barrage. We'll bring that up in a second.
That was a fake bracket. We tricked you again.
Yeah, we got you. That's what we do. First fake breaks, and then...
You guys fall for it every time.
You see, we wouldn't do it if you guys didn't fall for it. That's literally it.
But in the meantime, we have a little intermission. Oh, no, we're not. The bracket is
there.
there.
We are. All right, now we can see. So, obviously, like I said, game 1 of tomorrow in the semi-finals will be XL on the blue side versus Fnatic on the red side. Game 2 will be M&M versus Phelan. M&M on that blue side, Phelan on the red side. Winner of those 2 games go into the finals, then go into the Tower Challenge to try and take on Diabolus. If you're M&M, you got to be hungry now. You beat Fnatic last week, you got yourself at the top of the tower, and then Diabolus dethroned you after a day and a half.
Absolutely. And I feel like you could probably say, okay, we dodged both the LEC sister teams. We're in a pretty favorable position. But Phelan also dodged both of them. So I feel like both of those teams got to be hungry to grab points. But that match between Fnatic and XL, they are both going to be...
It's going to be so good,
They're going to be so hungry because both of them need to redeem themselves. And I wouldn't exactly sit here and say, look, it's going to be like a finals because by all means, these teams have been underperforming recently. But these teams are... XL and Fnatic need to redeem themselves, and I don't think either is going to let the other have the opportunity for free.
Well, redemption's on the card for those teams. But for you guys at home, we have one more job for you. If you head over to our Twitter at LVPUK, use that hashtag UKLC to get in touch with us. But we will have a vote going up as soon as the show is ended for your unsung hero. So you guys make sure that you hit us up with who you think deserves MVP coming out of today. We'll put 4 names up, and tomorrow we will announce it. Also, if you missed any games today, make sure you get over to the YouTube, LVP UK, where you can catch up on all of the games that you've maybe missed, or only the games from previous weeks, or even our previous tournament. I mean, it's easy for me to say what game I'd want to watch again. I think it'd be Game 3.
Game 3 was pretty good.
It was explosive. It was good.
It was feisty.
Feisty. Now, guys, thank you very much for joining us here at the UKLC. We will be back same time tomorrow. So until then, we'll see you later.
Make sure you tune in.